Minnesota Twins open up a long homestand at Target Field, hoping the All-Star break can provide a spark and the Twins can play better baseball in the second half of the year. They go into this unofficial second half down 3.5 games to the White Sox, who are in first place for the first time this year. And tonight we also have a special telecast highlighting the most demanding position in sports, the catcher. We'll talk about all the important things a catcher does that go under the radar, the relationship with pitchers, preparation, and fundamentals. And for Catcher's Day, we also have a super fan experience at FoxSportsNorth.com. Keep your computer logged on throughout the game, and whenever Jim Laugner first line of an aspect of catching or Joe's background, we'll play exclusive clips in addition to what you see on television. And with that, we welcome you to Target Field. Dick Bramer along with Bert Blyleven and Tim Laugner joining us here on Catcher's Day. And one of the things we're going to talk about, guys, tonight is the special relationship that exists between a pitcher and a catcher.
Well, first of all, pitchers are the best athletes. And, there's a bunch of bull about catchers, being so demanding. They just sit back there, and we just hit that glove left and right. But, what the Minnesota Twins have a very good catcher in Joe Mauer, Tim.
Yeah, he is. And if you're going to have a catcher day, having Joe Mauer as an example of how it's supposed to be done on a baseball field is pretty doggone good. American League MVP, batting titles, but you know what? He's pretty awfully good behind the plate, guys, and we're going to be able to break down some of the things that he does behind the plate, show some of the things that he does so well as a catcher in such a demanding position. My goal tonight, Bert, is to dispel the rumor that the pitcher is the best athlete.
Come on, you're not going to be able to do it.
If you guys were the best athletes on the field, why wouldn't they play you the other 4 days?
And we'll have fun here tonight with a pitcher and a catcher. When we come back, we'll talk about the challenges facing a catcher in a key 4-game series like the one that begins tonight. Local Northland Ford dealers. Visit your local Northland Ford dealer or go to northlandford.com. By Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Anheuser-Busch. Want to go home with me tonight? I'm the designated driver. Budweiser. Responsibility matters.
Target Field in downtown Minneapolis tonight. The Twins and White Sox open a 4-game series, the first of 13 meetings between these teams in the second half. The Sox are the hottest team in baseball. Catcher's Day here on Fox Sports North. We'll be taking you inside perhaps the most grueling position in baseball all throughout the night. And on a night like this, where a team is opening a series, Joe Mauer will meet with pitching coach Rick Anderson and all the pitchers on the staff to take a look at how they want to attack the opposing lineup. Here's how they do it.
Usually we'll spend a little time on each guy, you know, their strengths and weaknesses and things like that. But also understanding that we have, you know, 12 different pitchers and 12 different styles on how to get those guys out. So, you know, it gets to a point where if a guy can't hit a curveball, if a guy doesn't have a curveball to throw, then you got to figure out what to do from there. So everybody's different, and you try to give a general idea of what this hitter can do and his strengths and weaknesses are. But once game time starts, you always really want to go with what your pitcher's strengths are.
Kevin Slowey, 5-3 in Target Field this year. He'll try and pitch the Twins to a win against the red-hot White Sox. First pitch is next.
A major league catcher.
What a throw by Joe Mauer.
The mental challenges of calling a game and handling a staff. The physical beating of foul tips and blocked balls. All this while also trying to stay focused at the plate. It's the most grueling position and also the most influential. Catchers are the leaders, and tonight we'll show you their impact on the entire game. It's Catcher's Day, next on Fox Sports North. And the Twins catcher happens to be their lone representative at the All-Star game this year because Justin Morneau was unable to go because of a concussion, and Morneau not in the lineup again tonight. So Mauer and the Twins hoping to win the opening game of this series without their first baseman Justin Morneau. Former Twin catcher A.J. Pierzynski, part of a resurgent White Sox team. And Ozzie Guillen sending out this Menard's batting order. Juan Pierre leading things off. Omar Vizquel hitting second. Alex Rios hitting third. Paul Konerko went to the All-Star game because Justin Morneau did not. Then Carlos Quentin, Mark Kotsay, A.J. Pierzynski, Alexi Ramirez, and Gordon Beckham.
And the Chief Scouting Report on the Twin starter here tonight. After the break, you want that ball. It's going to be Kevin Slowey making his 18th start. One thing about Kevin Slowey, and since Tim Laudner's up here, one thing I'd like to see him do is control that fastball down and away, Timmy. And he has had a lot of success here at home so far at New Target Field in 9 starts, 5 wins, 3 losses.
You know, I hope he thinks it's as big a deal as it is to start the game out of the All-Star break, because it is a big deal, because you are going to get more starts if you stay healthy than anybody else in the rotation right up until the end of the season. And so, you know, you're right, Bert. If he can establish low and away, he can be pretty successful this second half of the season.
Twins over the years have perfected the tortoise and hare routine where they've kind of laid back in the weeds and then been there at the end. Well, the White Sox did that in the first half. They were all but forgotten just a little over a month ago, and now they're in first place for the first time this year. And Slowey delivers the first pitch to Pierre, strike one.
Well, 25-5 over the last 30 ball games. That helps a lot. An 11-game winning streak, and right now going into the break, the White Sox with an 8-game winning streak. So they have been on fire.
And as the Twins hope to win this series, win at least 3 out of 4 games, they hope to keep this guy off the bases. Juan Pierre leading the major leagues with 32 steals. A little bit up high, 2-1.
Yeah, Timmy and Dick, this is not your typical Chicago White Sox ball club. Yes, they have 100 home runs. You know, they're third in the American League in that department, but they have 80 stolen bases. Only the Rays have stolen more bases, and we haven't said that in years about the Chicago White Sox.
3-1 now to Pierre.
Want to make him earn his way on. That's what Joe Mauer's going to tell Kevin Slowey right here. Give me a good pitch, and hopefully it's a strike. No free passes, especially that leadoff hitter that can run, Timmy.
What do we always say, Bert? You can't steal first?
No, you can't.
3-2 to Pierre.
There it is, a one finger right there. Give me a fastball.
And a slap foul.
And you really don't have to move that much on a 3-2 pitch with a leadoff hitter, Timmy. Basically, maybe a little bit off center.
You know, we're going to watch where Joe sets up. We're going to take special note of it all throughout the game today. But, you know, in this situation right here, right, leadoff hitter, set right down the middle. Like you said, make him earn his way on. Make him hit his way on.
And he does. He slaps a base hit to left. And Pierre with a big turn at first will hold up there with a leadoff single.
Here's a look at from high up above, and Joe's going to get to the outside half of the plate. Slowey's pretty good. He kept the ball down. You know what? The guy got a base hit. You tip your hat to him. So you know what? Let's go get the next guy. Omar Vizquel's the hitter. He's the guy with the bat. He can do some damage. I'm not going to have a great deal of focus on Juan Pierre at first base. We're going to pay attention to him. We're going to try to hold him close. We're going to get some kind of a pitch where we can get a ground ball double play.
Well, throw over right there. I mean, Omar Vizquel, a guy that's a pretty good bunter in this situation, too. You know, Ozzie Guillen, as most managers do, they want to put that first run on the board.
Pierre leading the league in both stolen bases and caught stealing. He's been thrown out 4 of his last 7 attempts. And a pitch up high to Vizquel, 1-0. All right, you got a runner on first who can run. A running situation, perhaps, here. If you're a catcher, how does that, if at all, change your pitch sequence?
Does not change it whatsoever. In fact, I want to make sure, no matter who is on the mound, that they maintain focus at the plate. That's the guy with the bat. That's the guy that can do the damage. Sure, you want to throw over, keep him close. You want to keep him on a step off. You know, Bert, you always talk on the telecast about the slide step. You can do that too, but you have to maintain your focus on the hitter.
Well, that prior, you know, sequence of pitches, Joe put his thumb out, meaning that go over for Kevin Slowey. A lot of those calls come from the bench. Another throw over that Kadir has to reach out to get. Now, Slowey's pretty quick home. 8 stolen bases attempts off of him. 5 have been successful. And there's a guy right there as a catcher. You're always looking at Steve Little for something.
There he is, giving those signs. He's going to tell you whether you're going to pitch out or not. And you're going to look over every pitch to make sure that you're in tune with what's going on over at the bench.
And they pitch out on 1-0. And it is 2-0.
Well, you can do that with a guy like Slowey because he has such good control. Now, what opens the door is maybe a hit-and-run situation for Ozzie Guillen to call. Homer Vizquel, a switch hitter, hitting .263 as a left-handed hitter, and Slowey falling behind an account.
2 batters, 2 3-ball counts.
Well, Jeff Cox at the bottom of your right, the third base coach for Ozzie Guillen, going through a set of signs.
Right down the middle. Now, Slowey had an earlier start this year against the White Sox, and he was sailing through 4 innings. It faced just 13 batters. And then Alex Rios got a base hit, stole second. There was an error, and the whole inning unraveled. And Slowey never survived the 5th inning after cruising through 4. 3-1. Pierre stays put. Strike 2. So a couple of full counts to start the ball game. And we've had each of the first 2 hitters take 5 pitches to start the ball game.
Well, only because Kevin Slowey fell behind an account. They could almost bet that Pierre is taking off here, but Slowey needs to throw a good strike. Get it out.
Pierre goes, and the pitch dumped into short center. And that'll drop for a hit. And Pierre flies to third, and the White Sox have a rally here with runners at first and third and nobody out. Northland Ford defense for the Minnesota Twins. Delman Young in left, Denard Span in center, Jason Kubel in right. And as we mentioned, Michael Cuddyer coming in to play first base. Justin Morneau not in the starting lineup again today. We'll talk more about that later on.
All right, Timmy, Joe Mauer just went out there. Orlando Hudson came in, the second baseman. What's Joe probably tell Kevin Slowey right there?
Hey, you know what? Probably, hey, you got good stuff. Let's make sure we get ahead of the hitters. Don't be afraid to pour it right in there. You might be nipping, trying to nibble around a little bit too much. Throw the ball over the plate. Nobody's hit it hard yet. They dump one into left. They dump one into center field. Nobody's hitting it hard. Let's go. Let's go. Have some confidence. Get the ball down. We'll get you a ground ball double play right here.
And the importance of getting strike one so you can work in other pitches.
Absolutely.
And he gets the inside corner. 1 strike. Rios acquired a year ago from Toronto. And he may end up winning the Comeback Player of the Year award with a tremendous first half. High pop-up to right center field. Pierre setting up for a tag. Kubel with the catch. And a sacrifice fly by Rios makes it 1-0 Chicago.
Yeah, Rios picking up his 50th RBI of the year. And he hit that deep enough, and Jason Kubel did the right thing. Throw it to second base. No chance to get Pierre tagging up from third base.
That'll bring up Paul Konerko. Konerko off to a slow start this year, but he's really turned it on. He's been a big reason why the White Sox, who were buried in the American League Central standings, are now leading the division by a half game.
20 home runs, the all-star appearance for Paul Konerko, his 4th in his career with the Chicago White Sox. This is his 12th season with the White Sox.
And Slowey misses low, ball 1.
Konerko just 3 for 17 lifetime against Kevin Slowey.
And now up high, 2-0. Lincoln Mercury key stat. The White Sox were about ready to depress the plunger. They might have traded Konerko. They might have traded Bobby Jenks and a bunch of other people, but then they caught fire. And look at what they've done. They've made up 10 games in the standings in a little over a month. 2-0 to Konerko. Now, part of that is because the Twins have struggled over that course of time, and the Tigers have done great at home but poorly on the road. So the situation was right for the White Sox to make their move.
And White Sox took advantage of interleague play too. They were 15-3 in interleague play, and that's the time that they got kind of turned around and got going. against the National League.
2-1 to Konerko. Checked his swing. And another 3-ball count. Kevin Slowey's typically got very good control. He's thrown 19 pitches, 10 strikes, but he's had 3-ball counts.
Yeah, Dale Scott behind the plate. I remember throwing to Dale Scott. He had pretty good strike zone if you hit the corners. But Kevin Slowey really up in the strike zone here in the first inning. Yeah, again, scouting report, chief scouting report. Must control both sides of the plate down.
Pulled hard and foul, 3-2. We'll see if the White Sox send Omar Vizquel.
You know, you're right, Bert. I don't know what's happened to the strike zone, but, you know, obviously I'm a big fan, and I enjoy watching baseball games, and I pay attention to baseball games, but I also have the opportunity to sit behind it. I don't know what's happened to the strike zone, and it sometimes it kind of boggles my mind, and you've said it all along in your broadcast. Make the hitter swing the bats.
Vizquel goes, and a line drive off the bat of Konerko just beyond the reach of Hudson. It's the third Chicago hit. First and third, one away.
Well, they send the 42-year-old Omar Vizquel, and that brought Orlando Hudson to cover second base, and Konerko hit the ball just behind him where Hudson was going to the bag. And see the pitch away. He just goes with it. Good piece of hitting by Konerko. You see Hudson going to the bag, and then the ball, as he dove for it, got by him in the center field.
So now Carlos Quentin with runners at first and third, still only one out. Quentin going into the break, the hottest Chicago hitter, 6 home runs in the 4 games leading up to the break. And 7 home runs overall in the last 10. Breaking ball down and away. Quentin off to a slow start, but now hitting the ball like he did when he was an MVP candidate a couple of years ago.
He's had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years, Dick, that plantar fasciitis, and then they say in Chicago he's finally healthy again. Pretty good pickup for the White Sox when they got him off waivers from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
That's deep to left center field. Delman Young with the catch. It'll be another sacrifice fly. Coming in from third is Omar Vizquel, and it's 2-0 Chicago.
Well, Vizquel picking up, Carlos Quentin picking up RBI number 62 on the year as Vizquel scores his second run of the inning.
So the game starts, this series starts with 5 productive plate appearances for the White Sox. 3 hits and a couple of sacrifice flies, and Slowey's in an early 2-0 hole. Here's the designated hitter, Mark Kotsay. Fourth Chicago hit, all singles, and Konerko checks in at second. So most of the Chicago hitters taking pitches and then getting hits. And here Kotsay jumps on the first pitch.
Jimmy, again, the location of these pitches are pretty much right down the middle of the plate. Quick trip to the mound by pitching coach Rick Anderson.
Slowey with 24 pitches here already, and this is not how Rick Anderson wanted to start his second half of the season after making too many early trips to the mound in the weeks leading up to the break.
Yeah, as a catcher, Jim, you're not really saying much right there. You're letting the pitching coach do all the talking.
That's it. That's the pitching coach's trip. There's nothing that you're really going to add unless he asks you about certain things. But this is the pitching coach's trip. It's not the catcher's trip. So he's going to be the one that's going to be.
Timmy, let's take a look at this last pitch. Now, Kotsay's up, and, Slowey's trying to get strike one. But again, look at the location, pretty much right down the middle of the plate. And Slowey, he's not the guy that's going to throw 94, 95. He's got to keep the ball down in the strike zone.
You saw where Joe moved to the outside corner to try to help him out, to try to give him a good target on the outside corner. Just left the ball out over the plate.
Here's Pierzynski. His .247 average doesn't look like much, but it's a lot better than what it was about 6 weeks ago when it was 50 points lower. And he takes outside, ball 1. Pierzynski, pretty good numbers against Slowey. 4 hits, 11 at bats. 4 Chicago hits, a couple of early runs, and Slowey trying to get his teammates off the field here. He's already thrown 25 pitches here in the first. There's a ground ball to second. Hudson has it. Flip to Cuddyer and the inning ends. A long inning and a couple of first inning runs for the White Sox. Here earlier in the year, a 2-run first inning. And the Menards batting order for the Twins. Denard Span leading off. Orlando Hudson hitting second. Joe Mauer third. In the absence of Justin Morneau, Michael Cuddyer with cleanup type numbers against John Danks and Jason Kubel, Delvin Young, Jim Thome, J.J. Hardy, and Nick Punto.
On that lineup, we'll face John Danks making his 18th start of the year, looking for his 9th win. Let's take a look at the Dodge Ram scouting report on Danks. He's coming off his first career shutout, a victory over the Angels, a 2-hit shutout. Actually took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. And he's done a very good job against right-handed pitchers. Opponents hitting only .219 off of him, one of the best in the American League. Right-handers hitting only .200, but don't tell Michael Cuddyer that.
Pop up short left field. And Pierre streaking in from left makes a nice running catch. 1 away.
Watch this ball come up. It looks like it comes out of the glove a little bit right there, but he's able to. He's got that Dan Gladden glove. My goodness, it's about a yard long.
Now an issue out in center field. Home plate umpire Dale Scott is pointing out to center. And the sign over the batter's eye is going to have to be removed.
Oh, the circle me Burt signs. Let's go. Delay a game. Can't put it there.
Northland Ford defense for the Chicago White Sox. Speed and left. You've already seen that with Juan Pierre. Rios covers a lot of ground in center. Carlos Quentin in right. The veteran Vizquel, a utility player for the White Sox at third. Ramirez and Beckham up the middle. Konerko at first and Pierzynski behind the plate.
I think the hitters, Dick, have complained enough about that batter's eye that the last thing they need is white signs out there.
A circle me Burt sign, no less, huh?
Shame on him.
Yeah.
You can see the shadow of the ballpark streaking across the batter's eye in center. Here's Orlando Hudson. And Hudson takes up and in, ball 1. Hudson, of course, in his first year with the Twins. And the split's pretty even. 284 as a right-handed batter, 279 as a left-handed batter, but all 4 home runs coming from this side of the plate. 1-1. It's to right field and short, and Quentin comes in to make a fly ball catch. Out number 2. And Mauer coming to the plate. Twins baseball brought to you in Sony High Definition. As it's turned out, Mauer, the only Twins representative at the All-Star game. We're used to seeing 3 guys typically represent the Twins. Joe Nathan, Justin Morneau. Back in the day, A.J. Pierzynski, Torrey Hunter, and Joe was the only Twin to go to Anaheim representing the club.
Timmy, you got a pitcher out there, a left-hander, John Danks, and the White Sox, what they like to do, they like to work quick. Not a lot of time between pitches. As a catcher, you're ready to get that sign as soon as that ball's back in his hand.
You know, if you watch this, you watch John Danks, you watch Mark Burley, as soon as they get the ball, they're standing on the rubber and they're ready to pitch. And there's a certain rhythm to their game that suggests we're attacking. We're attacking. We are coming at you right now. We are going to be right in your face, and we're coming to get you. And you know what? The catcher is a huge part of that type of rhythm to the game.
A 9-pitch first inning for John Danks as he sets the Twins down 1-2-3. SportsNorth.com. Keep your computer logged on throughout the game. Whenever Tim Laudner or Bert reference aspects of catching or Joe's background, we'll play exclusive clips in addition to what you see on television. Last week, we also asked people to ask Joe a question online. Stephanie Hernan of New York wanted to know how Joe knows what pitches to call, and he'll answer that after this hitter. The hitter happens to be Alexei Ramirez, who, like everybody in the Chicago lineup, has recovered from a slow start and now putting up pretty good numbers. And Slowey starts him with a strike. Fly ball down the left field line, a foul ball that will reach the seats. All right, Kevin Slowey's had a rough first inning. And as a catcher, what do you do to try to keep him positive out there and try to get him to just treat the second inning maybe like it's the first?
You know, you just go back to the bench and you talk to him and you just, you try to maintain his confidence and try to keep him confident, keep him in the game, saying, hey, look, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to score 6 or 7 today. Your job right here is to shut them down for the next 4, 5, 6 innings. You got it in you. You've got good stuff. All right, the first inning's over. The first inning jitters are over. Now we're going to go to work.
Oh, he went to work right there on Ramirez and struck him out on 3 pitches, all breaking balls. Ramirez chasing that slow breaking ball for Slowey's first strikeout. See, that's why I said you pitch down in the strike zone right there. That's a good 0-2 pitch. But you see Ramirez, I mean, he's not a disciplined type hitter. He's a free swinger. He swung at that ball that just landed on the other side of home plate.
He threw him 3 in a row, too, which is, that's not something that you would do. That's not something that's going to be in a scouting report that's going to say, hey, let's throw Alexei Ramirez three breaking balls in the dirt and let him get himself out. Doing something different is not always that bad.
He'd fly to left, and that'll go halfway up into the second deck. A home run for Gordon Beckham, and it's 3-0. Slowey's given up 5 hits, first time through the Chicago batting order. Beckham started to show some signs of breaking out of a season-long slump right before the break, and then this.
Well, you see again where Mauer wanted that pitch. He sat outer half of the plate, and again, ball left inner half to a guy that's just trying to pull the ball like Beckham did right there, and he got his pitch, and now it's a 3-0 Chicago White Sox lead. For Beckham, his 3rd home run of the year.
Ball 1 to Juan Pierre, who had the long at bat that ended up with a base hit. And there's a carbon copy. Delman Young knocks it down. Pierre thinks about second, but will hold up. So he's hit the same ball twice in back-to-back at bats and has a pair of hits. Here's Joe's answer to the question about what pitches to call.
You know, like a Kevin Slowey, you know, he's got 4 pitches: fastball, curve, slider, change. Not too many times he's going to have everything working that day. So it's what you got to figure out what's working for him that day and try to get him through that, start as best you can.
And again, everything keys off the fastball. The control of the fastball sets up the slow curveball and the slider and the changeup. And Slowey too much of the plate right now.
Ripped foul. What pitches to call is a completely different matter than delivering the pitch where it's called for. And I think that's what we've seen Slowey having problems do here in the first couple innings. Pitch selection maybe isn't the biggest issue if the pitch location isn't there. And Beckham grinning ear to ear after tattooing a home run.
See, I always looked as a catcher, Timmy, and you know the way I feel that you put down a sign, but if I don't want it, I shake it off. I know what I want to throw. You know, when I was younger, of course, when I'm 19 years old, I relied on George Meadowall and Phil Roof, but with experience, and Kevin Slowey, he's got major league experience. This is his, a 73rd major league start. He should be able to call his own game and find out early what's working for him. He shouldn't have to rely on Joe telling him what's working and what's not working.
Absolutely. And, same thing for me as a young catcher, throwing to veteran pitchers or catching veteran pitchers. You throw a number down, and if he shakes it off, you go to the next one. But by the same token, after you get some years in the league and you understand the hitters and what they're trying to do, and you understand your pitcher and what makes him best, you throw some numbers down and you get after it and get after those hitters.
Pierre goes, and the pitch grounded through the hole to right. So the White Sox twice now have hit base hits behind the runner. And the White Sox have a threat here after the Beckham home run with Pierre and Vizquel hitting back-to-back singles again. And the fans here at Target Field getting a little restless.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a hit and run or not, because Pierre didn't look like he got a very good jump. But Orlando Hudson, again, the guy to cover the bag. And the ball not, a good fastball, but right there in that open hole. Pierre jumping over the ball and then scooting over to third base. So runners at the corners with one out.
7 Chicago hits, 6 singles and a home run. And Alex Burnett warming up in the Twins bullpen. The Twins saw this far too often in the final weeks before the All-Star break. And Slowey in his final start before the break ended up giving 10 hits and 6 in the third innings, and then came back and pitched a couple of effective innings out of the bullpen in Detroit. Around the hands, ball 1 to Rios.
And Dick, this is the 3rd time in the game that the Twins have been in the first and third situation, and Joe, as the catcher, as the quarterback, as it were, behind the plate, it's his job to make sure that everybody's on the same page signal wise in the first and third situation. Should that first the runner on first base take off, it's probably not going to happen with the middle of the lineup coming up though.
To center, Span going back. It'll be the 3rd sacrifice fly. Vizquel trying to advance to second, and he is out. They are going to count the run. Pierre just crossed the plate before the tag was made at second base. So I believe they made the correct call. Dale Scott very emphatic that the run did score before the tag was made at second. And it is the third sacrifice fly for the White Sox. They lead it 4-0. You can visit exploreminnesota.com. Plan your next Minnesota vacation today. That's the Smokey the Bear statue in International Falls, Minnesota. Tim Lauder, you've probably gone by there many times on your fishing trips up to Canada. The monument in Smokey Bear Park, the nation's largest Smokey Bear statue, 26 feet tall, weighing 82 tons.
He looks like Herbie, doesn't he, Dick?
Wananota Kadire and a little doink. The second baseman, Beckham. 4 up, 4 down. A very close play, and the White Sox do get their fourth run in the second inning.
Well, Timmy, this is why a runner at third, you have to hustle in, because Denard Span made a great throw. And then you see Pierre right there tagging the plate, and a bang-bang play. It was Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, that got into position to try to see if Pierre touched the bag before the tag could be applied at second base. Very close.
If you run hard, Bert, you don't have to answer to anybody.
Down and away to Jason Kubel, while Kevin Slowey has struggled, giving up 7 hits and 4 early runs. Danks is just sailing along here, 4 up, 4 down. All the at-bats have been quick at-bats, and he gets a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
Yeah, Danks has been pitching very well as of late over his last 6 starts. 4 wins, 2 losses, but an ERA of 2.79.
Fly ball, short right center field, and that is going to be dropped by Rios. So Rios got there, had the ball bounce out of his glove, almost in the same fashion that the ball hit the Pierre by Denard Span, almost bounced out of his glove. And I would guess they'll give Kubel a base hit. And it is the first Twins hit of the night.
Well, both outfielders had to go a long way, and Rios cutting in front of Carlos Quentin. The ball just popping out of his glove.
Delman Young, the hitter. Twins falling behind early here, 4-0. Young with a swing and a foul. Delman going into the All-Star break, swinging the bat well. The average over 300. Got a couple of doubles earlier this year against Danks.
Delman 8 for 25 lifetime against John Danks.
0-2.
Where Delman stands and back of that batter's box. We saw A.J. Pierzynski set up right there. He wanted that pitch up.
He set up in the middle of the plate, but he did want that pitch up and out of the zone, and he wanted it up there for a purpose, because he's thinking about the next pitch or the pitch after that.
Foul back. The very thing that has brought the Twins down in the standings is the thing that has brought the White Sox up in the standings. Bert, you mentioned the White Sox winning 8 in a row, 25 of 30. In that 30-game span, they've had 27 quality starts.
Pitching, 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 I'm telling you.
Or at least tonight, catching. 2-2.
You know, we talk about Joe Mauer, but this guy right here, a former Twin, A.J. Pierzynski. Timmy, I know that you are a fan of his, too, as I am. You know, personality-wise, take that away, but this guy knows how to handle a pitching staff.
But, you know, I wouldn't even want to take his personality away.
Deep to left field. Delman Young sends it to the warning track, caught by Pierre. 2 down.
Yeah, he's a hard-nosed kid behind the plate, Bert, and you know what? He plays hard, and that's one of the things that I like about AJ is he plays hard, and I think that he's very, very passionate about being behind the plate. I think he's very passionate about doing whatever he has to do for his pitcher during the course of a ball game. I can see AJ fighting for his pitcher and talking to the umpire and getting strikes and telling him, hey, he's going to be there all day long. You're going to take a look at that one because he's going to be there all day long.
And I like the way that he jumps up and throws that ball hard back to the pitcher, too.
He keeps him awake. You know what? He's to me, he's involved with his pitcher in helping him get into a rhythm of a game.
Tomey lashes it to center field, and that's down for a hit. Kubel will hold up at second. You know, you brought up a good point, because I always wondered that watching Ivan Rodriguez year after year after year. I always thought at some point he may have thrown the ball back to the mound faster than the pitcher delivered it to the plate, and whether that made any difference to the pitcher, getting a quick and emphatic return from the catcher.
Well, I'll tell you what, this guy on my left right here, Tim Wadner, if you weren't throwing the pitches that he thought you should be, or maybe your concentration was, he would throw the ball back to you. I mean, hard. You better have 2 gloves on. I mean, you were intense.
J.J. Hardy with a swing and a miss.
Why not? You know what? I think that it's part of the game. It's part of the job. And Frankie Viola used to talk to me about the bone bruise that I used to give him in his catching hand. And
Hardy punches a base hit to center field. Kubel around third. He's coming in. And the throw not in time. The Twins are on the board with a pair of 2-out singles, 3 in the inning, and it's 4-1.
Well, it looked like a changeup right there, and J.J. Hardy hit it right back up the middle, picks up his 15th RBI. That's something off speed. J.J. a little out front, but able to hit that ball up the middle, and with 2 outs, Kubel off with a crack of the bat, and he scores the Twins' first run.
And now Nick Punto with 2 men aboard. And Punto takes a fastball down the middle of strike.
Yeah, this game's not over. I'll tell you what, John Danks is making his 16th career start against the Twins. He's 4-6 with a 5.03 ERA. And he hasn't beaten the Twins over his last 6 starts. He's 0-3 with the ERA at 4.66. So Twins have had pretty good luck against John Danks.
But I do think, Bert, that John Danks says right now, I have a 4-0 lead. I'm facing the bottom of the Twins order. There's not anybody here that's going to take me out of the ballpark. If A.J. Pierzynski is sitting behind that plate saying, there's not one hitter that's going to come up here that can hit you, John Danks, that can hit my pitcher. And so they make a really good pitch to J.J. Hardy, but he gets a base hit. The mindset still right here is, Nick Punto can't beat me. I'm going to go right after him. I have a 70 to 80% chance of getting this guy out. I'm going to go right after him.
That's the positive thinking that you want between the pitcher and the catcher.
3-1 to the number 9 hitter. And now a full count. Not insignificant, because on a hit to the outfield, Jim Tomey at second base might need all the help he can get to score.
I think we're thinking more gapper right here.
Oh, is that right? Still a gapper, even with a 3-2 count?
Yeah,
are you saying it's going to take a triple to score him?
Full count to Punto. Runners go. Pitch foul back. And foul to the on-deck circle, where Denard Span drops down a beautiful bunt. Off of Pierzynski's mask. And then over to the on-deck circle where Span bunted it.
Yeah, his 6th sacrifice of the year.
The joys of catching. How about that one? Right off the mug, huh, boys?
Another 3-2 to Punto. That's a little doink to left. Pierre coming in. He won't be able to get there, and Tony is going to score. So 3 straight 2-out hits, and the Twins have cut the Chicago lead in half.
Yeah, Jim Thome scored right there because on that 3-2 pitch, he was off and running, and he was about halfway by the time the ball got to home plate. So Thome had a chance to get moving right here, and Punto just kind of hits it soft in front of Pierre. And Punto picks up an RBI, his 19th of the year. And the Twins have cut this game in half, 4-2.
Well, the White Sox hit a long home run and some sharp singles, but they had a few doinks along the way, too. So the Twins getting back into the game the way the White Sox took the lead in the first place. And here's Denard Span. Hit a little short fly ball. Pierre made a nice running catch. And Span led off the first inning for the Twins.
Dick, one of my former pitchers, Don Cooper, Coop DeVille, the pitching coach for the Chicago White Sox, takes a trip out and talks to John Danks. So Coop DeVille alive and well.
Span takes a fastball for strike 1. Coop pitching for the Twins back at Metropolitan Stadium back in those days. And early, I think, in the '82 season at the Metrodome. 1 strike to Span. 1-1, so important that Punto base hit. Now you've got a guy, Span, who can get a double or a triple, but you've got a speedy runner at first, so if Span can find that gap, decent chance the Twins could actually tie the game up here. 1-1. A little bit high. Pierzynski holding it. Umpires like it when you do that, Timmy, or
not? They're not too keen on that. But you know what? There are certain times when, you know what? You got to hold it on them. You got to at least give them the idea that in the right circumstance, you're going to show them up if they're not paying attention. And they have to know that as well. I spent a lot of time talking to the umpire.
It looks like that's what Pierzynski's doing right there.
Yeah, but you also have to get to know what the umpire, that umpire, the personality of the umpire.
Absolutely. And you know what, Bert? I think it was better when we had American League and National League umpires. I don't like the idea of having Major League umpires, but you know what? I don't get to make the rules.
I agree, because as a pitcher, you also knew what that umpire would give you, but as a catcher, you knew who you could talk to and who you maybe couldn't say anything to because they're ready to jump on you.
You know, we both had Dale Scott, who's the umpire tonight. And Dale Scott, when he was an American League umpire, saw you more often than he would as a Major League umpire. And so he gets to know you better as well. And he can call a better game for you on the mound if he's an American League umpire rather than a Major League Baseball umpire.
I remember Dale Scott as an American League umpire, a guy that you could talk to.
Absolutely.
As long as you didn't show him up, you could ask him questions.
Right.
2-2 to Span. Twins have the tying run at first. And Span with a ground ball headed up the middle. Hardy's going to score. Punto to third. And the Twins have pulled to within 1.
Awesome. Two out hitting right here by the Twins. Jim Thome with the base hit. RBI single by J.J. Hardy. Nick Punto an RBI single. And Denard Span an RBI single. Driving in J.J. Hardy. Span picking up his 38th RBI of the year. Hitting a right back up the middle. Beckham dives for it.
Starting with Thome, 4 straight 2-out singles. It's a 4-3 game, the tying run at third. And here is Hudson. A little fly ball to right field is first time up. And Span chased back to the bag. So the run that the White Sox got just a split second before the third out at the top of this inning is the difference in the game right now.
Dick, here's our first and third situation in the ball game, and this instance, as a catcher with the fast guy on third base, a fast guy on first base, and a guy that's probably not capable, even though he's got 4 runs, not capable of taking the ball out of the ballpark. When you get into a certain count, later in the count, it might be an instance where you're going to start that run.
2-0. I mean, the way things are going, though, guys, don't you have to let them roll here? I mean, this is like a crap game. When a guy's hot, you got to see where this inning takes you, just with a succession of hits, don't you?
And even with Joe Mauer on deck, there becomes a point, maybe this pitch, maybe on a 2-1 situation where you might want to start that runner just to see what happens.
Hudson got a pitch up and fouled it straight back, 2-1.
Oh, you're talking about a guy, John Danks, though, too, that's very quick home. He does give you that high leg kick, but we've seen him in his other starts. He'll do that slide step that ball gets very quick to home plate very quickly.
I'm just saying that Gardy might have an instance where he's going to want to make the Chicago White Sox handle the ball.
Up high, 3-1, Mauer on deck. Well, Danks having the type of inning we spoke of regarding Kevin Slowey in his start against the White Sox, where, boy, sure looked like he was in control, but then as soon as Kubel got on base, everything's changed.
They can leave just like that, believe me. You think you're in a good groove. Now Kevin Slowey's got to watch and say, okay, guys, you're getting me back in this ball game. I need to go out and put a 0 on the board. Danks has thrown a lot of pitches, 41 pitches so far.
After what, 9 pitches in the first inning?
Yep.
3-1 to Hudson. And a walk fills the bases for Mauer. And now Pierzynski, with no margin for error, suddenly will try to figure out a way to get Mauer out. He got him on a 2-hopper to second to wrap up the first inning. And a big spot for Joe. Everybody knows he went into the break slumping. He has just 1 run batted in so far in the month of July, and a glorious chance here to deliver a big hit.
Oh, another capacity crowd here, and most of them on their feet, pulling for Joe in this situation.
And he takes low, ball 1. And Pierzynski will take a trip to the mound.
What's A.J. telling Danks right here, Timmy?
We're just going to take a breather right here. We're just going to catch our breath. We're going to walk up here on the mound, take it easy.
But Danks just walked away from him.
Yeah, they have a tendency to do that, trust me.
That was you and I right there, Timmy.
You know what? There's plenty of times where I go out to the mound and they have the pitcher say, get back there, I know what I'm doing. Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Why are we in this position then?
2-0 to Mauer.
Got him right where I want him.
Got him, yeah.
And a strike, 2-1.
Yeah, make him throw a strike. All right, here, Timmy, I'm sure you take a pitch. You know, he just walked Hudson. Make him throw a strike.
That's not a pitch that Joe Mauer is looking to drive right here. And AJ knows that. But by the same token, it's going to be up to Danks to hit the spots. Hit the spots.
Fair ball down the line. Junto scores. Span scores. Hudson around third. It's a bases clearing double for Joe Mauer.
All the fans that were not standing now are standing for Joe Mauer. A 3-run double for Joe Mauer. And that gives the Twins a 6-4 lead.
6 straight batters have reached with 2 outs in the inning.
Now we see so many clubs put that shift on where the third baseman plays towards shortstop. And you can see Beckham right there has no chance of getting that ball as it goes down the line. And Juan Pierre doesn't have a strong arm, and that's why Scotty Alter sent Orlando Hudson. And he scores the that 6th run of the inning.
Cuddyer will be intentionally walked. I want to get back to what you said, Tim, about the 3-0 pitch. A fastball knee high in the outside corner. That's not a pitch that Joe was going to drive. But if you throw the same pitch in the same spot, we've seen Joe, he likes the pitch down and away to do what he did right there.
You know what? He lives out there. And it's not a secret, but you know what? When you have somebody that's up at the plate like Joe Mauer, that's a 300, 350, 360, 365 hitter, guess what? He doesn't have too many holes. There are not too many places that you can pitch Joe Mauer and be successful, and so you try to pick your spots with him. Unfortunately, that was a spot for the Chicago White Sox that cost them 3 runs.
Well, this is a 2-0 pitch right here that, basically I said after walking, Hudson, now almost the same spot, and Joe says, you know what? You just did that. I know you're going to try it again. I'll just go with it.
There are some hitters in the league that I swear, Bert, and you and I faced them, that are smart enough to set up a pitcher. And the guy that comes to mind is Eddie Murray over with the Baltimore Orioles. If you made him look bad on a pitch, he would look for that same pitch. If you threw a curveball in the dirt and you made him look bad, he'd hit the next one, curveball in the dirt, 450 feet. And you'd wonder, how did he do that?
Yeah, Cliff Johnson did that.
He set you up.
Right-handed hitter.
He set us up.
Alex Johnson, when he played with the Angels, he led back the hitter.
This will be the 40th pitch of the 2nd inning for John Danks. 45th pitch, I should say.
Yeah, not very good Minnesota math over there.
2-2 to Kubel. And a rare non-quality start for a Chicago starter, and it's all blown up in Danks' face with 2 out in the inning. Half swing got him to end the inning. The Twins strand a couple, but they score 6 and take a 2-run lead. Two, 3, 4, and Mauer leading comfortably thanks to that 3-run double, and now a critical inning for Kevin Slowey.
Yeah, it's catcher's night. Joe Mauer's got to be leading.
Have you hugged your catcher, your favorite catcher lately, Bert?
Oh, come here.
Hey.
Ball 1 now to Paul Konerko, who's singled. Slowey now pitching with a 2-run lead, even though he's given up 4 runs and given up 7 hits.
Well, a lot of times I'm going to say it, it's not how you pitch, it's when you pitch. Now it's important for Kevin Slowey to get that, ball down and get some quick outs. Put a 0 on the board.
And I would have
that
hoped
doesn't rejuvenate Kevin Slowey. Nothing would.
I would have hoped, Bert, that Joe would have spent some time to go over to him and say, hey, look, you know what? Let's not worry about getting 3 outs. Let's get the first out. Paul Konerko is leading off. Let's pitch this guy really tough. Let's get the first out. Once we get the first out, then we can go to work.
How many times did you and I go over a lineup in the 6th or 7th inning and say, you know, hey, this guy's leading off? I didn't worry about the guy that was hitting 3rd that inning. Well, how are we going to get this first guy out? And then you take over and hopefully get the second guy out.
2-2 to Konerko. He got one of the 4 Chicago singles that led to 2 runs in the first inning. And the White Sox got a homer, a couple of singles, and a sacrifice fly to score 2 more in the second. The governor has called, and Kevin Slowey's been given a reprieve here tonight. There's a little nubber back to the mound. 1 down. And let's go down to Anthony LaPanta down by the Twins dugout.
Guys, I thought it was interesting, and Tim talking about the fact that Joe Mauer and Kevin Slowey perhaps had a chance to talk. I was watching into the Twins dugout during the last inning just for that reason. I wanted to see if they had a chance to talk with each other. Joe Mauer was up 9th because, remember, he ended the first inning. At no time during the inning did the two of them sit together. In fact, Slowey spent a couple of hitters of the inning talking to Drew Butera, spent most of it sitting next to Scott Baker, and it appeared they were talking a great deal, perhaps some strategy there. But I thought it was interesting that Mauer did not go over and try to talk with Kevin about how they'd get through this 3rd inning.
Boy, that Anthony and Timmy right here, I mean, that was a necessity for you and I. And I think any pitcher, you need to communicate with your catcher between innings.
You know what? If you and I weren't talking, Bert, nobody else would talk to me. So
I felt the same way.
You know,
that's why I said, you know, on the day that a pitcher pitches, your catcher is your best friend. I always made sure that you sat on my left and my pitching coach sat on my right because I wanted answers right away. And I knew that you had to hit. I knew you had things to do offensively. But once you come back, I don't care where you were, your shin guards were usually right by me.
Absolutely. And you know what? To maintain that level of communication, to me, was vital. That's why I wanted to be a catcher, because I wanted to be able to handle a pitching staff, because I wanted to be able to be part of a 2-man operation, part of a team that was successful. And you know what? Yeah, I wanted to be a major league hitter, but you know what? I was not a 300 hitter or a hitter that was going to win a batting title. Not anything close to it. But I could be part of something that was very, very successful. And when my pitcher did well, I went home and my pillow rested, my head rested a lot easier on the pillow, knowing that I did my best to make sure that that pitcher gave his all that night and that I was part of it.
And Quentin is hit by a pitch, something he is leading the league in, and he stepped into it, and they're not going to give him first base. They're going to say that it hit the bat, and Quentin is holding his fingers. He typically gets hit a lot. And now Dale Scott is going to check with Jerry Meals, and they are now going to give Quentin first base.
Well, Meals saying that it hit him on the forearm, but Quentin's got his hand that he's looking at, not the forearm.
Ron Gardenhire is going to be a little upset about this because the original call was a foul ball.
It looked like it got him in the right hand.
I thought it got the knob of the bat.
Quentin hit by a pitch for the 13th time this year. And there's Jerry Meals who's saying, no, it got him on the wrist and there's no swing. But now you can be hit by the pitch, but if your bat goes through the hitting zone, it's still a strike. And I think that's the appeal for Ron Gardenhire, is that he went through. Quentin, who a couple of years ago was going to be a viable MVP candidate until he broke his own wrist, slamming his bat against his wrist, trying to hit the hand, and instead broke his wrist. So Quentin, a painful trip to first base and a controversial one as well. Well,
it's a first hit batsman for Kevin Slowey this year. You can See Quentin? I thought he took it right off that right wrist area.
Yeah, it looked like it got the back of the top hand, or the base of the hand.
Well, the best thing is that Kevin Slowey finally hit somebody. And the best part to me, honestly, guys, the best part of that is that Kevin Slowey decided that he's, going to bust somebody up and in. I like that. You like that too, Bert.
I like it a lot, but I saw him do that in the last start, and we talked about that in Toronto. He did a great job of pitching those guys inside, but he did not establish down and away. You have to work both sides of the plate. And when he did work away, that's when the Toronto Blue Jays jumped all over him because the pitch was left up.
Ball 1 to Kotsay. 1 out. Kotsay singled in the first inning. And now he takes outside 2-0.
You watch that All-Star game and you see a guy like Ubaldo Jimenez that didn't have any problem throwing up and in to Derek Jeter. Wasn't that beautiful?
And again, it's not the intention of hitting somebody. It's just working both sides of the plate.
2-0 to Kotsay. Swing and a miss. Your choices with Quentin, the way he's been swinging the bat, either you pitch up and in or you spend a lot of time backing up third base. I mean, this guy loves the ball out and over the plate. He can drive it to the opposite field with authority.
I think a lot of people did call those divers. They dive into the ball.
That's why he's leading the league and getting hit by pitch.
Right.
2-1 to Kotsay. And now 2-2.
Good pitch right there. Joe Mauer sitting inner half of the plate and Slowey hitting his spot. That's a good pitch down in the strike zone.
Fouled away. Again, Mauer setting up inside, and the pitch is outside. It just looks like Slowey is really struggling with his command through the early innings.
You don't normally see that from Kevin Slowey either. When Joe Mauer calls a pitch and sets up inside, you don't normally see Kevin Slowey missing on the opposite side of the plate. That's just not quite. Kevin Slowey's got good command of his pitches, and to miss that bad, he's not quite in sync.
There's a pop up, a foul ball that'll reach the seats.
All right, Timmy, we've shown Joe Mauer go through more than one sign with a runner at first base. Carlos Quentin is not going to steal a base. He's got no stolen bases on the year, but it doesn't matter who's at first base. Catchers for the Twins go through more than one sign with a runner at first. A.J. Pierzynski, runner at first, he does not. Why do the Twins do that?
You know what? I really don't have any idea, and I would prefer, personally, that they didn't. Let's throw a number down and let's go. The guy on first is not looking in at those signs. Now, if they're thinking, this is a beautiful pitch. This is how Kevin Slowey pitches. We saw 2 pitches ago where Kevin Slowey was unable to get the ball inside, lost it on the outside half of the plate. But this pitch, he comes back and he jams it right in there like he's supposed to. A little bit of a cutter. Joe moves over inside, doesn't quite get all the way in there, but he gets his glove on the inside corner, gets the call.
Here's Pierzynski. And Slowey hoping to put up a 0 here in the top of the third. Pierzynski hit a ground ball to Hudson to wrap up the first inning. Outside, ball 1.
I'll go back to the multiple signs where the runner at first base. A lot of times you'll see it with a guy like Carl Crawford. I mean, good runners will take their lead and then look in. And if they see only one sign, maybe the 2, they're going to run on that one.
The only thing that matters is that your pitcher sees the sign and your shortstop sees the sign. And if you turn when you give your sign, there's no but. You know what? If he takes that big a lead that he can see your signs,
you better pick him off.
You better pick him off. You better pick him off. But to me, it just kind of interrupts the flow of the game. Get a number down and let's go.
2-0 now to Pierzynski.
I know myself was a quick worker, and I know when you caught me, we would go through, say, first sign after 2 with a runner at second. If I shook off, you went one sign. I wanted to keep the ball going.
Or it was first sign. You can't just go one sign, because then they can. And earlier in the season when Wilson Ramos was up, he was guilty of that, as going through a sequence, getting a shake off, and then just putting one sign down. Obviously, the runner on second can then relay that sign back to the hitter. So you need to go through a sequence after a shake off, but you can still use the first sign to make sure that you keep the flow going.
2-1 to Pierzynski, continuing his banter with home plate umpire Dale Scott. Swing and a miss. You do any of that, and Pierzynski again looks at Dale Scott. When you were hitting, if you felt like you were getting squeezed, did you ever continue your discussion during your at bat? Because it seems like that's what Pierzynski's doing.
Well, I think, I think that they're just kind of visiting a little bit. I don't know that they're really talking about pitching. They're just visiting, Dick.
Are they? Okay.
No. In answer to your question, no. You know what? They're two different things. Obviously, there might be some instances if you have, maybe a not so good relationship with the umpire where you would say, hey, my guy's not getting that pitch. How come he's getting that pitch? My guy's not getting that pitch. But typically you want to try and separate the two. Hitting is hard enough without having to go up there and fight for your pitcher while you're hitting as well.
That's right.
2-2 to Pierzynski. Twins up 6-4. And Pierzynski steps out. Well, the reason I ask is I think there were some pitches in that 6-run second inning, particularly a one pitch to Punto. Pierzynski held it and held it and held it. And I think there were some pitches within that inning the White Sox thought they should have had, didn't get, and as a result, Danks was charged with 6 runs.
Yeah, you're asking, and you know what, Dick? There are some pitches that Kevin Slowey has thrown I'm thinking, what in the wide world of sports do you got to do? Because they're right there. Bert, we talked about it before. What happened to the strike zone? And if it changes from game to game, holy cow, does it change from inning to inning? And it's hard to know. Obviously, that should not affect you when you go out there as a starting pitcher, starting catcher. But it's hard not to pay attention to it.
Well, he said Joe Mauer go out and talk to Kevin Slowey right there. They say sometimes Kevin Slowey tries to think too much out there rather than just trust his stuff and go with the catcher with what he wants to throw.
My favorite movie line: "This is baseball. There's no thinking in baseball."
2-2. Slowey has not, although he hasn't given up a hit in the inning, he has not had an easy time of it here in the third. A lot of pitches thrown and really no tempo to the game at all.
Now, try my California math. He had 39 in the second. He's got 63 right now, so that tells me this will be his 25th pitch. And it's fouled off.
And we've seen Pierzynski do this throughout his career, foul off 2-strike pitches.
Well, to me right now, Kevin Slowey needs to get back on that rubber a little bit quicker than he is. You're going to find your defense just kind of walking around. Got to pick up the pace a little bit like you're talking about today.
That's when the defense gets back on their heels, and they're not ready to make a play for you. If you get the ball and you throw the ball over the plate and you put the ball in play, your defense is going to make plays for you.
2-2, and Pierzynski with another foul.
Well, the breaking ball right here, and AJ.
That was in the batter's box.
Yeah.
This is one of those situations, Bert, where 2-2 count. If you're going to throw a 2-2, you're going to have to be prepared to throw a 3-2. So this may be, to me, this is a good time. He just waved at one outside, maybe a foot outside. This is a good time to throw one right at his shins. Throw that breaking ball right at his shins. If you're going to throw the breaking ball 2-2, you're going to be prepared to throw it 3-2. Instead of having to go back to the fastball, this is a good time. Throw it down and in, throw it at his shins, and let him get himself out.
Try to lock him up, down and in.
Slowey will try it again on 2-2.
See where Joe moves.
And now he misses up and in. And Ramirez in the on-deck circle.
I think the idea was there. Take a look at all the pitches, most of them all out over the plate. And right there, he wanted to go in, but again, he's leading with his wrist rather than on being on top of the ball to create that downward play.
Twins aren't holding Quentin on at first. Dyer playing back on the dirt. 3-2 to Pierzynski with 2 gone. Another foul back.
Timmy, I've talked about so much about pitching that, you know what, when you let that ball go here, it's going to stay up. Working out front, that creates that good downward play. It's almost like pointing your finger down rather than there.
And when you have your wrist in this position and the ball's up, we call that pushing. More times than not, your elbow's going to be down and it's going to be in towards your body, and you're going to push the ball up there. You're going to see a lot of catchers that are pretty emphatic about telling the pitcher to keep the ball down, stay back, and get your elbow up.
Another 3-2. And a high drive deep down the right field line, and Pierzynski stands and watches it go foul. He stood at home plate. I think he thought he had enough to get it out, but it hooked just enough to go foul.
Well, I think as a hitter, Tim, I mean, like AJ, I think he thought that, you know, that ball was going to hook foul a little bit. I don't think he stood at home plate. You see him right there thinking, uh-oh, you know, I got out a little out front. No, it's going to hook foul.
I hope that's what he was thinking.
I give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, manager's on the top step. This has been, in its own way, an exasperating inning for Kevin Snowy. He has not given up a hit. He's thrown a bushel basket full of pitches and still can't seem to get the third out. And a towering fly ball to left. Hardy calling for it. And that ends a long inning. All that really matters is the White Sox didn't score in the top of the third. And when we come back, we'll give you an update on Justin Morneau. Impressively, 5 of them coming with 2 outs in an inning, or in the inning. Delmon Young hooks one wickedly foul. Young almost hit a home run in the second inning. He hit a warning track fly ball to left.
Yeah, 46 pitches used by Danks in that second inning. Good changeup right there. Good location.
Well, the White Sox wanted both Danks and Mark Buehrle to pitch against the Twins in this 4-game series, but going into the break, they had them pitching back-to-back. During the All-Star break, they've split them up to give the Twins a different bit of a look. Danks tonight, and then Buehrle going 2 nights from now. And Young shoots one to right field, a base hit. Twins came to the ballpark today hoping that Justin Morneau would be in the lineup. That's not the case, and we get an update from the man himself.
Yeah, I mean, just again that fogginess that you know, that things aren't working right, it's not registering right, and then just walking around when that's not right, trying to hit a 90 mile an hour fastball makes it a little difficult. So just err on the side of caution with us, and see what the plan is. But hopefully it keeps getting better. The good sign is it's been getting better every day. And
the most likely result is tomorrow they will put Morneau on the disabled list and activate Matt Tolbert, who can come off the disabled list tomorrow. Off-speed pitch. This was one of those weird plays because it didn't look serious, and obviously it was.
You see the Justin Morneau getting the knee of John McDonald. And Justin went down, ended up coming out of the ball game with that slight concussion.
2 strikes to Thome. Backhanded nicely by Vizquel, and they will get the double play. Thome running through the bag, but not in time. And it's a 5-4-3 double play.
Actually 5-6-3 double play, because you don't see that too often with the shift. It was Ramirez that ended up covering second base. Watch right here. Beckham throwing to his shortstop, and then Ramirez completing the double play.
Ramirez broke in as a second baseman, moved to shortstop last year, so a little flashback for him. And now here's J.J. Hardy, got a big RBI single in the second. Anyway, regarding the Morneau situation, it's very likely he'll be put on the disabled list tomorrow. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. With about a week to go, backdating the disabled list to when he first left the lineup in Toronto before the All-Star break.
He looked a little glassy-eyed to me.
Check swing, no swing. Well, it didn't help that the area of impact was his right temple, which was the area Ron Vallone hit with that fastball a few years ago. And then, too, Morneau, as he said today, look, things are just a little woozy and foggy for me. The last thing you want to do is to try to hit a 93-mile-per-hour fastball when the injured area is the exposed side of your head. Here's a splintered bat, and Ramirez throws Hardy out, and the inning ends. To the 4th inning, the Twins up by 2, and when we come back, we'll go into Joe Mauer's game. Base yet. Joe Mauer talked about the skill of throwing runners out.
I almost tell them it's kind of like jumping on a skateboard. If you jump on a skateboard, flat, you're not going to go, forward. So you do want to have some momentum going to second. You're almost going to come out a little bit and kind of jump on the skateboard.
For more on Joe Mauer's technique throwing out runners, go to foxsportsnorth.com right now for the Superfan experience.
You do any skateboarding when you were younger, Timmy?
Not younger and not now. But I'll tell you what, his explanation, his demonstration, perfectly textbook. And you know what? Let me tell you, boys, I didn't see Joe play baseball until his major league debut back over there in the Metrodome. But I did see Joe play 2 high school football games. And I thought, without question, that he was the most poised high school athlete that I had ever seen. And as a drop-back passer over at Cretin-Derham Hall High School, there's no question that the footwork that's required to be a quarterback is similar to the footwork that is required to be a major league catcher. And there's no doubt that it helped him as a major league catcher. That playing basketball. And when you talk to some younger kids about not being position specific or sport specific, obviously this guy right here is a great athlete, but he's also an example of what it's like to play other sports other than just trying to focus on baseball or focus on hockey or basketball. Play all the sports and become a well-rounded athlete, and obviously he's a great example.
Well, you saw that pitch right there by Kevin Slowey. Again, work in, but you got to work down and away too. It wasn't just that pitch he hit, it was the previous pitches. He kept busting them in. He never established away. Again, you have to work both sides of the plate.
Well, here's Gordon Beckham, who cranked one into the second deck here at Target Field. Solo home run with 1 out in the second. A leadoff double for Alexi Ramirez here in the 4th. Twins aren't taking matters lightly here at all. They've got Alex Burnett warming up again in their bullpen. Look at Joe Mauer's reaction behind the plate. I thought I saw his shoulders slump. Well, maybe not. But Mauer, it's got to be a little exasperating for a catcher when you're out there and you're doing your best. You're trying to move the ball around the strike zone and nothing seems to be working.
Yeah, it's you just want your guy to know that you're doing the best job you can for him.
Pass Kadire, and the White Sox will get back to within a run. A one-hop shot past the glove side of Kadire, and Ramirez scores at 6-5.
Yeah, ball left up right there, and Beckham, who just swung through a fastball. I mean, they throw him an off-speed pitch right here, and that kind of slows up his bat, allows the barrel of the bat to get through. And Ron Gardenhire coming out. There might be a pitching change. When you just throw a fastball by somebody and then you throw an off-speed pitch, well, you're allowing the barrel of the bat to catch up, and that's what Beckham did. He hit that ball sharply past Kadire.
A disappointing start for Kevin Slowey.
Lead 6-5 as they go to the bullpen here in the top half of the 4th inning. Tim Laudner was talking earlier about seeing Joe Mauer as a high school football player. I did get a chance to see Joe play high school football, but also high school baseball about a dozen times at Midway Stadium when he was a senior. there was so much interest in him as a player that general managers from around Major League Baseball were there to watch him. But his footwork and his throwing was so good behind the plate that nobody ran against him. So for them to be able to get a look at his mechanics, it had to be at the end of innings, and they'd go to him and say, we need you to throw as if you're throwing a runner out so that we can get a look at your footwork and your timing. He was that good that he stopped every running game in high school. And fans, you can go to foxsportsnorth.com for more on our Superfan experience and see highlight clips of Joe Mauer as a high school player.
Juan Pierre, the hitter. Alex Burnett, the pitcher. Mauer has to hurry, and they just barely got Pierre in a sacrifice bunt. A beautifully placed bunt, and Mauer had to call off Burnett to get the out.
Well, with Juan Pierre running, really, Tim, the only one that can make this play is the catcher, Joe Mauer.
Textbook here again. He rounds the ball. By the time he fields this ball, his left shoulder is pointed towards the base that he intends to throw to, first base, to get it out. Juan Pierre, he runs pretty good, Bert. And Joe made a nice play. Nice play.
Vizquel with a pair of hits, tying run at second, one away.
Well, I'm saying that Joe Mauer's the only one that can make that play because of, if Burnett picks up that ball, he's got to turn around and try to plant his feet and make a good throw, and Pierre runs by the bag by that time.
You remember that thing about the pitchers being the best athletes? You want to make sure you get the pitcher out of the play. Get the pitcher out of the play, Bert.
You're the best athlete because you know that that's a catcher's ball.
2-0 to Vizquel, and the Twins limped into the All-Star break. And a bullpen that was running on fumes. This is the last thing they wanted to do, to come out of the break and turn to the bullpen in the fourth inning.
Yeah, Alec Burnett's last outing that came just before the All-Star break in a short start by a Twin starter. He had to work 3 1/3 innings, a career high in relief.
Burnett was warming up in the second inning, and not in the third, but again here in the fourth, and now he's fallen behind Vizquel 3-0 with Rios on deck, and Mauer will go to the mound.
You know, guys, I want to talk a little bit about what Anthony said with the fact that these scouts that would pour into Joe's high school baseball games to watch him throw, and they couldn't get a time on him because nobody wanted to run. Well, you know what? Joe is obviously a good thrower. And to me, there is too much emphasis placed on catchers and putting a stopwatch on them and then seeing how fast they can get the ball down to second base. To me, it is so overrated. It's ridiculous because that's such a small part of what it is to be a catcher at any level, whether it's a high school level or the college level or minor leagues or even the major league level. There are so few plays. Thurman Munson couldn't throw, and you played against him, Bert. Thurman Munson couldn't throw a ball through a pane of glass.
No.
But do you want him behind the plate?
Boy, could he get rid of that
He
ball
could get
quick.
rid of it. He could get rid of it, but what he did as a leader behind the plate was immeasurable. Immeasurable.
Here's Rios, a couple of sacrifice flies, and Burnett can't throw strikes. The only strike he's thrown was the bunt dropped down by by Pierre. Beckham is at second, representing the tying run. Vizquel walked on 4 pitches. Rios with a sacrifice fly to right in the first, and then a fly to center that was scored as a sacrifice fly, even though Rios ended up flying into a double play, if you will. Inside 2-0. And the Twins just they saw this far too many times in the weeks leading up to the break, and now Rick Anderson has to make a trip to the mound.
Well, there have been a lot of pitches thrown here between everybody. I mean, right now that Alex Burnett, but 136 pitches thrown in the first 3 innings by both starters.
Tonight's Cabot Woodstain's legendary performance. It was on this date in 1989. Jeff Reardon picked up the save, and the Twins beat the Red Sox. It was the 250th career save for the Terminator. He went on to pick up more than 100 more. At the time of his retirement, Jeff Reardon was the all-time saves leader. He's been passed by quite a few people since.
Jimmy, you caught him.
He was absolutely awesome. And you know what, Bert? I'm going to pass this along. We clinched the American League Championship in Detroit, and it was a ground ball back to Jeff. He flipped it over to Herbie. He jumped into Herbie's arm. A couple days later, he came to me and he said, "Hey, I'm sorry." And I said, "Sorry for what?" He said, "When you win a championship, the pitcher's supposed to jump in the catcher's arms. When we win the World Series, I'm going to jump into your arms."
Swing and a miss on a 2-0 pitch. Rios thinking he could drive that ball after Burnett missed with 6 straight.
And I believe he did he not?
Yes, he did. I've got pictures to prove it.
2-1 to Rios. Drilled, fouled, and it's 2-2. Anybody want to bet me this game doesn't end 6-5?
I know.
Kind of odd you give it.
You know, this is the 6th game between these two ball clubs, and 4 of the 5 have been by 1 run. I mean, you're talking scores 2-1, 4-3, 5-4, and 3-2. The only one by the White Sox 5-2.
And Rios swings over the top of the sinker. 2 down.
Now that's a good visit by pitching coach Rick Anderson.
About halfway through the inaugural season at Target Field, and it's not out of the question to be thinking about year 2. You can step into the Twins on deck circle and get priority for season tickets next year. For a minimal deposit, you can put yourself in line for all the different season ticket plans available. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com for all the details on the Twins on deck circle. Here is Paul Konerko. And outside ball 1. Konerko with a single in the first, and then he hit a little number back to Slowey, leading off the 3rd. Two in the first, 2 in the second, 1 so far here in the 4th for Chicago. And missing low, 2-0. So Burnett has had problems throwing strikes, and Ron Mahay getting loose. Normally, Brian Dunston might be the guy warming up in this situation, but Dunston's got a touch of the flu, and they weren't sure whether he'd even be available to pitch tonight. Bouncer to short. Hardy to Hudson in the inning end. 1 back for the White Sox after their leadoff double. It's a 6-5 Twins lead. Now ball 1-1-1. I was telling you, Timmy, Bert and I sometimes have fun up here making home run calls. I got a bunt single call here. Beckham playing a deep second base, and with the left-hander Danks on the mound, it would seem to me there'd be a little bunting room on the right side of the infield grass.
This is going to be a push one past the pitcher call. There it is. There it is. Going to beat it. Dick.
That's a good call.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, Punto has his second hit, and it's a single leading off the fourth inning.
You know, and what you were talking about, Dick, and Tim, you were talking about a little bit. I mean, this is great baseball right here. This is just a smart baseball player to be able to do that.
Konerko isn't the most mobile first baseman. Beckham was playing way back at second base. It's almost like they were giving Punto a base hit there.
Bert, you know as well as I that if the pitcher and the catcher are on the same wavelength, the catcher's going to say, hey, watch for the bunt. He's going to tell his infielders, hey, watch for the bunt. It's like,
oh my. Span bunting it in the air right back to the pitcher, and that's the first out.
Well, just trying to lay the ball down softly. Sometimes as a hitter, I'm sure, Timmy, you know, I don't know, you weren't asked to bunt too many times, but
sacrifice.
You know, you kind of sacrifice. You want to give yourself up, and that's what Span's doing right here. And he just kind of jabbed at that ball, created a little pop-up back to Danks.
If he almost looked like he was trying to bunt for a hit. If he was asked to sacrifice right there, that was a poor job of sacrificing.
Okay.
That was a very poor job of sacrificing. Now, if he was trying to bunt for a hit and just got under it to try to follow up what Nick just did, sure. Just to finish my thought earlier, again, if the pitcher and the catcher are on the same wavelength.
Hudson with a drive to left. It's deep, sending Pierre to the warning track, and he makes the catch. Second warning track fly ball. Out number 2.
You're never going to be able to finish your thought. You know that.
Doesn't matter.
Go to FoxSportsNorth.com right now for the super fan experience and learn more about how to field a bunt. Two down, and here is Joe Mauer.
You want to finish your story now?
No. You want me to?
Yes, please.
I just see this, you know, if you're on the same wavelength, you don't get surprised with plays like that. But sometimes, you know what, the guy makes a great bunt. Nick Punto laid down a great bunt for a base hit.
There's Mauer taking a first pitch strike. It was Mauer's bases clearing double down the left field line that took the Twins from behind by 1 to up in front by 2.
Are you happy now, Bert?
I'm very happy.
You happy?
A lot of the viewers are very happy.
Yeah.
They were sitting at the edge of their couch right there.
I just want to make
wanting
you
to
happy.
finish that.
I'm just trying to make you happy.
And Mauer with a soft liner to left, his second hit. Punto checks in at second, and that'll get Cuddyer up with 2 men aboard.
Well, you know, so many people talk about, well, Joe Mauer hasn't hit a home run here, and I've talked about this before. Joe Mauer is this type of hitter right here, inside-out hitter, a guy that's going to hit some doubles. So take advantage of this field because, yeah, maybe it's a pitcher's ballpark, but, you know, Joe, I mean, right here, just inside-out swing, that's a beautiful Joe Mauer swing.
There's very few holes with which you can try to pitch to with that swing.
The Dyers had great numbers against John Danks. He is 0 for 1 with an intentional walk. He comes up here in an RBI spot, first and second, 2 down, and he takes strike 1. The numbers incredibly good for Cuddyer. 18 for 36 coming into the game. 4 doubles and 5 home runs against a very good pitcher. Cuddyer lifts it foul, 2 strikes.
That's why I said it in my scouting report that right-handers are hitting only 200 off of them this year, but don't tell Michael Cuddyer that because Cuddyer was hitting 500 against him in the 18 for 36.
Twins have taken the lead, but now leading by just a run. They got a whole bunch of 2-out hits in the second, looking for another one here in the fourth. Very high, 1 and 2. Bunt single started the inning. Mauer with a 2-out hit extending the inning. Kadir strikes out to strand a couple of runners onto the 5th. In a wild game, 6-5 Twins. And today's game is brought to you by Budweiser, official beer of the first inning. Check out the crowd through the first inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game. Budweiser, it's what we do.
Pitch count. Well, yeah, he might be out in the 5th or 6th inning, and we're still going strong.
There is that. If there are 250 pitches thrown in the game, at least most of those are return throws from the catcher back to the mound.
And let me tell you about that up and down. Joe, at 6'6", when he squats, he's got a lot longer way to go than Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. A lot longer, and to get back up is a lot longer too. And so you know what? You might not think that that's much, but that is some wear and tear. And Joe was talking about his knees, and let me tell you, I heard over the weekend, over the All-Star break, Gary Carter's got 2 new knees. I have a new half. Maybe Joe doesn't exactly know what's in store for him, but one of the things that makes it a little bit easier, one of the techniques that we talk about, is get your feet in a comfortable position, left foot forward, right foot back, get your left heel down, and you can be up on, your right heel can be up just a little bit. But if you get into that position, you're in control of your hips, your butt can move to the ball, whether the pitch is inside or outside. And Joe technically is very, very sound behind the plate with his footwork and his positioning, which allows him to squat for 9 innings. That's what he trains to do, but being in the right positions allows him to catch 9 innings. If he was up on both toes, he would be so fatigued after the first couple innings, his legs would be dead. But having his left heel down, his right heel up slightly with his right foot slightly back of his left foot, allows him to be able to catch. And I tell the kids that I do clinics with that, you know what, if you can get comfortable in this position, you can watch TV all afternoon after you get your homework done, right?
Here's Kotsay, and Burnett misses again. 5 straight out of the zone. Hudson's come in to talk to Burnett. Now Mauer will give it a try. Burnett struggled throwing strikes through his 4th inning, and now he struggled again here in the 5th. You can submit a question to us online at carsoup.com/baseball. From Wilmer, Minnesota, Ryan Thompson wondering what part of the game becomes more demanding for a catcher, the mental or the physical.
Well, you know what? I don't want to call it demanding. I want to call it challenging, and I think that they're equally both very challenging. Demanding, you know what? Nobody demanded that I go back behind the plate. Nobody demanded Joe go back behind the plate. The guys are back there. The catchers that I know are back there because they want to, they love it, they have a passion for it. And so from a challenging situation. I think both. You know what? It was a challenge to work on the hitters on the other team, to be able to know how to attack those hitters, to be able to get the best start that I could possibly get out of Bert Blyleven with what he had that day. And I'm going to tell you what, it was pretty good day in and day out. Physically, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the guys that go back there love it. And Joe talked about getting nicked up and foul balls. There's a little bit of a sadistic side to catchers because they love it. And I know I took a lot of foul balls off my face. And that probably goes a long way to explaining a few things, but I love getting dirty.
I think we all saw Mike Redmond.
Loved getting dirty.
How many times Redmond took one off his arm or something? And
that boy used to take so many hits that I'd get the hives.
On the outside corner, Kotsay wanted the second walk to start the inning. And instead, Burnett gets the call. It's a full count with nobody out.
Having a tough time throwing strikes, but this one right here, good pitch down and away. And he gets the call from Dale Ford.
See if the White Sox send Quentin here. Again, not much leg speed for the runner at first. He goes, and the pitch hit through the hole on the right side, a base hit. And Quentin, the tying runner, now will go to third. So Burnett struggling to throw strikes. A leadoff walk and now a backup base hit, and the White Sox are back in business in the fifth.
Yeah, Kotsay picking up his second hit of the ball game, and for the White Sox, their 10th of the ball game. Left a pitch up, and Kotsay jumped all over it. So the leadoff walk now at third base. And Rick Anderson on the phone.
And again, we're in a first and third situation where Joe's going to go out in front of the mound, and he's going to give the signals, and the signals are going to be if the runner at first takes off, it's going to be this particular play. And if he's going to cut the play off and throw to third base, that means that the middle infielders do not need to cover. There's not going to be a play at second base. Or we could have a play where he's going to throw through and try to get the runner going down to second base as an out. And so one of the two middle infielders need to cover. So a lot of first and third situations tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Joe has to communicate with his infielders.
Like you talked about, Jimmy, there's a lot of things that the catcher has to go out and tell. He's basically the captain right there, telling his shipmates what he's going to do.
He's quarterbacking, and he's calling the play that's getting sent in from the bench.
Two strikes now to Pierzynski. Twins playing the infield back. They'll regrettably concede the tying run to get a double play here if they can. Twins with a 6-run second inning to cover up an early 4-0 deficit. White Sox got one back in the fourth and a quick threat here in the fifth. First and third, nobody out. 2 strikes to Pierzynski.
Yeah, you think it's strikeout right here, and Alex Burnett.
That's a balk. That'll tie the game. He stumbled coming off the rubber, and that fits in pretty well with everything else that's happened here. An odd way for the White Sox to tie the game, but Burnett stumbled as he pushed off the rubber.
I was thinking make a good 0-2 pitch.
He never delivered the ball.
It looked like his footing was okay. Just shortened his stride a little bit, and then.
And Ron Gardenhire coming out, and Rick McWayne following him, the trainer. The Twins are going to check to see if Burnett is okay.
Of course, Dick, in this instance, too, the umpire is going to be right there to make sure that there wasn't anything that was discussed with regards to pitching.
Right.
It was just going to be, are you okay? You need a couple of pitches. No, I'm fine. Okay. And you saw the umpire look to Ozzie over in the Chicago White Sox dugout and say that is not a trip, not an official trip to the mound.
Trying to remember is something on the Sports Highlight maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Someone did that, and then after they still had the ball in their hand, and then they pushed it toward home plate like to finish their throw home.
2 strikes and a drive to left center field. And it'll put the White Sox in front. Pierzynski with a double, and it is 7-6. And the Twins not getting effective starting or relief pitching here in the 5th inning. And that's going to be the end of the night for Alex Burnett.
Well, pitch left up, and A.J. just taking it the other way. An RBI double, his 17th double, driving in his 26th run.
So the White Sox back in front. It's 7-6. To make things difficult, more difficult in the second half, because it used to be they just wanted to name one.
Well, now they have to say how many we have to name.
Right.
Well, one sitting to our left right here.
That's right. Tim Laudner. We can go back to Earl Batty. We can go to A.J. Pierzynski, Joe Mauer. There's 4 right there.
4.
And if we can come up with any 3, we can carry over points for tomorrow's show.
Butch Weiniger was 1.
Butch Weiniger. Brian Harper, I believe.
I don't know if Brian Harper ever made the All-Star team.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, this has been.
How about Earl? Did Earl make one?
Yes, Earl Battle.
Here's Jesse Crane coming in, hoping to restore some order here to what's been a very poorly pitched game for both teams.
Well, one thing we have seen from Jesse Crane, and that ERA at one time was over 6, is now down to 3.93. Been pitching outstanding out of that bullpen. 34 1/3 innings for Jesse Crane. 12 walks, 3 intentional with 29 strikeouts.
White Sox have 11 hits. Ramirez has 1 of them, a leadoff double against Kevin Slowey in the 4th. And Crane drops a breaking pitch over for a strike. Damaging at bat for Pierzynski. Burnett actually got ahead of him 0-2 and then gave up the go-ahead double. So still nobody out. Pierzynski at second here in the top of the 5th. Crane knocks it down, recovers, and throws him out. Nice play by Jesse Crane. If his fingers are okay, that's a heck of a play.
Might have been the only person that might have been able to get Ramirez right there because it was softly hit. Don't know if J.J. Hardy would have been able to come in and field that ball and throw him out at first. Pitcher's reaction right there is try to stop the ball. You do it any way you can. Jesse knocks it down and gets the out at first base. But on the play, A.J. Pierzynski moves from second to third with 1 out.
Twins bring the infield halfway in here. Pierzynski doesn't run well, so they don't need to bring him in on the edge of the grass. Beckham, disappointing first half, but he's got a couple of RBI hits in his first game after the break. And outside, ball 1. Beckham with a long home run to left. And then an RBI single in the 4th. You guys are a big believer in the sophomore jinx, but something has befallen Gordon Beckham in his second season. Popped up a foul ball back in the seats. 1-1.
I think you see that a lot. Sometimes, guys come up, pitchers really don't know that much about them. Pretty good fastball hitter. Beckham last year, 103 ball games, hit 270, hit 14 home runs, drove in 63 runs. Pitchers know him a little bit more now.
Crane hoping for a good and better second half. Down and away, 2-1. Beckham earlier this year went 112 at bats without an extra base hit. And not only wasn't he hitting when he did get hits, they were just singles.
And as a catcher, if he's in a sophomore slump, I hope he stays in it.
2-1 to the number 9 hitter.
Going to the slider right here.
Swing and a foul. Looked like Crane might have left that pitch up a little bit, but Beckham picked it into Mauer's glove. Even Jesse with a little side-to-side shake. Now, Bernie, you were a starting pitcher, but wondering whether the break for someone like Crane who'd been pitching well going into the break. I mean, everybody can use that 3-day break. You shouldn't have too much rust built up. It's just been 3 days, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the way that I thought. As a starter, you look forward to your next start, whether it be, 5 days or 7 or 8 days. You would do what you have to do to make sure you're ready for that start. As a reliever, I'm sure Jesse Crane, he needed that little bit of a break. I think the bullpen did. They have the best ERA in the American League combined. You'd like the starters to go deeper into the ball games because that's one thing in September the Twins are going to need. They're going to need a healthy bullpen.
Well, if you think they were tired in the first half of July, wait till the end of the year if the Twins don't get deeper starting pitching.
Right.
2-2 to Beckham. 3-2. Pierre on deck. Of course, the Twins went through it with their second baseman last year, Alexi Casilla. They thought that Casilla was going to be their guy, and he started off terribly. But the difference is Casilla, I think, let his poor at-bats and his slow start affect his whole game. They say in Chicago that Beckham has not done that. Full count. And flip foul.
Well, Beckham only 23 years old. Sox #1 pick back in 2008 out of the University of Georgia.
Last year he was a third baseman and the White Sox moved him to second. Some thought maybe that was contributing to his slow start. Big pitch here for Crane. He'd love to strike Beckham out and get the second out of the inning. Bouncer foul. Crane, of course, a strikeout pitcher. Beckham with 53 strikeouts and 275 at bats, about once every 5 at bats. Game's about 2 hours old, and we're in the top of the 5th inning.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
No, so Jerry Meals.
Boy, sure looked like he went.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, it sure looked like he went right there, breaking ball down. And Meals saying that Beckham did not go. That's close. What do you think, Timmy?
I think we should ask somebody else. That's what I always wanted to do behind the plate. When you have the right to appeal to the first base umpire and he doesn't give you the call you think you deserve, you turn around and you tell the home plate umpire to ask somebody else.
As a third base umpire.
Let's ask somebody else.
Ask the pitcher.
Let's ask the pitcher. Let's ask somebody in the first row.
So Crane walks the number 9 hitter, first and third. One of those first and third situations.
Here we go again.
1 out and Pierre at the plate. Pierre, despite his speed, has hit into 5 ground ball double plays. Outs have been so hard to come by. Almost seems impossible to get 2 out on 1 pitch. We'll see what Crane gives Pierre here. nearly to the backstop. Ball one. Hey, I want to ask you guys something. You both talked about Kevin Slowey getting the ball first game out of the break. Ron Gardenhire has said on a number of occasions that he has had pitchers who do not want to pitch the first game out of the break. I mean, I know your reaction over there, partner. But that some pitchers, and even a veteran like Livan Hernandez when he was with the Twins, didn't want to pitch the first game out of the break. He wanted one day to get back into the flow of things and then take the ball. Your reaction, gentlemen? A liner. Hudson. They get one. A run's going to score because it's not a force play and he's safe anyway. It would not have been an inning-ending double play. Well, it could have ended the inning, but a run was going to score anyway. Hudson couldn't field the one-hop smash cleanly. So it's out number 2, but the third run of the inning for Chicago.
Yeah, Beckham kind of had to hold up because he didn't know if this ball was going to be caught by Orlando Hudson. If Hudson's able to catch this ball cleanly, but the ball ended up hit sharply, knocked down by Hudson, and alertly he gets the out at first, and then on the relay play, Beckham slides in safely. So Pierre is out at first. He'll get an RBI as Brzezinski scores, and Beckham safe at second.
And here is Vizquel, who's reached all 3 times. So the White Sox back in front by 2. They've scored in every inning but 1. All right, your reaction to the...
Well, let me tell you, I was with the Texas Rangers. Gaylord Perry and I were the number 1-2 starters down there, and Billy Hunter was a manager. And just before the All-Star break, he wanted to start Doyle Alexander. Well, Gaylord and I marched into his office, and I ended up starting the first game after the All-Star break. I won out, and Gaylord pitched second, and then Doyle Alexander pitched third. So, yes, to me, I wanted...
But that's just the opposite, right? I mean, what Gardy's saying is some guys just don't want the ball first game out of the break.
I wanted the ball every game. I hated those 3 or 4 days off.
2 strikes to Vizquel, and the challenge now for Crane is to try to strand Beckham at second. After the Twins not only didn't get 2, but they ended up not getting the lead runner.
You know why I wanted that ball? Because I wanted to go out there and say, okay, whatever we did before is behind us. Okay, this starts new. And I want to be that guy that wanted to get us on the right track. May not have always happened, but that was the mind frame that I had.
I don't know this, but I sense that's kind of a recent phenomenon. Pitchers not wanting the ball the first day out of the break. And Kevin Slowey got it and ended up being taken out in the 4th inning.
Well, the only thing I can say to that is if you don't want the ball, we'll find somebody else that does. Right. And, that certainly speaks to somewhat to the character of that particular pitcher. I don't know how else to say that.
It's honest.
Well, Slowey, I mean, he's the one who ended up with the ball. He didn't pitch well, but at least, he took the ball, and I don't know what other options the Twins considered. What Liriano, I suppose, could have gone. I don't know how they, and I'm not saying even that had happened this year, but in years past, Gardy has made a point of saying that. So some guys just don't want to come out of the break and start that first game. 2 strikes again to Vizquel, just off the plate, 1 and 2.
Well, it's kind of like saying you don't want it. To me, the second half is kind of like, opening day again. You want to open up You want to open up the season, and then you want to open up right after the All-Star break.
Moore tried to bring his glove over the outside corner. 1 and 2 to Vizquel. And a curve missing, and it's 2 and 2.
Hey, Timmy, umpires see that, or they go off the ball. I mean, did they see catchers sometimes try to bring that glove back?
Well, yeah. You know what, Bert? I always tell all the kids, younger kids and the high school kids that I coach and talk to, you cannot make a pitch that is not a strike look like a strike. So don't even try. Try to catch the ball as efficiently and as effective as you possibly can. That will give the umpire the best look. You can't steal pitches.
Crane with a strikeout of Vizquel. The White Sox lead by 2. Catchers Sal and Drew Butera are the first father-son combo to play for the Twins. Sal caught from the Twins in the early 80s, again in 1987, and of course Drew is a member of the current squad. 1-0 to Jason Kubel, and now he takes a strike. 1-1. Kubel, Young, Thome facing John Danks.
You know, it doesn't happen that often, and that's a tribute to Sal Butera and Drew Butera on the hard work that you know, they put into getting to the big leagues. It's not easy.
And for more on Drew Butera, you can go to FoxSportsNorth.com right now for the fan experience. Ron Coomer's interview with Drew Butera. Kubel strikes out to start the 5th inning.
Well, Danks picking up his 3rd strikeout, and you know, it's one of those ball games you just keep going out there, keep going out there. He did have that 6-run 2nd inning, but he's been able to put some zeros on the board, and his offense has been able to now give him a 2-run lead.
Delmon Young with a warning track fly ball to left, the leadoff single in the 3rd. Remember when the Twins got their 6 runs and came from behind to take a 2-run lead. We said Kevin Slowey's 3rd inning was going to be a big one. He didn't give up any hits or any runs. But now similarly, here's Danks, who gave up a 4-run lead. Now he's got his 2nd lead. This is an important inning for him.
Oh, that's why you keep going out there, you know, and you keep busting your tail end, and hopefully good things will happen. Hopefully your offense will pick you up. You know, his last start, he pitched that 2-hit shutout, his first career shutout in 118 major league starts, and he won 1-0. Now all of a sudden, you know, he doesn't have that type of outing going, but he's got a chance to win if he can get through this inning and maybe one more. That's where persistence and determination, you know, that's why the White Sox are very high on this young man right here, coming over from the Ranger organization.
A 2-2 foul off the bat of Young. Danks had a 1-2-3 first inning. The Twins have had at least 1 hit in every inning since. And another foul. Young spent his all-star break in Minnesota. Didn't go back to California. Just wanted to relax and recover here in the Twin Cities.
Did you take him fishing, Dick?
I did not. And back to the glove of Danks. 2 down. You can visit the official online shop of the Minnesota Twins and browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the TwinsBaseball.com shop, except no substitutes. Here's Jim Thome with 2 gone in the 5th. And he takes strike 1. First, Danks, a former teammate of Thome's. And he misses up 1-1.
John Danks in his 4th season with the White Sox. He made his major league debut against the Twins back in 2007. Thome fouling that off. He ended up losing a ball game to Johan Santana 3-1. But then about a month later won his first major league game against the Twins here in Minnesota at the Metrodome. He beat Ramon Ortiz 6-3 in that ball game.
Of course, it was Danks against Blackburn in the big game 163 in Chicago. The only run of the game scoring on a Jim Thome home run. 1-2 with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 5th. Thome flips it foul. .94 pitches for Danks. Twins getting all 6 runs on 6 hits in the 2nd inning.
We've seen a good fastball from Danks. We've seen the occasional curveball, the little cutter he'll throw to right-handers, and then a very good changeup. Here comes a slider.
And Thome lifts it to left, right at Juan Pierre. So Danks, given his 2nd lead, bounces back with a 1-2-3 5th.
KSL.com's Kate Bilo forecast brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. White Sox in town taking on the Twins tomorrow. Target Field, 6:30 p.m. Coverage begins. Clear and very warm. First pitch temperature, 87.
I don't remember ever seeing that at the Metrodome. The moon.
No.
Not a moon.
Not up in the air.
Up in the sky. Beautiful sliver of a crescent moon somewhere over Target Field here.
You were never invited to the team photo deck.
Alex Rios will lead off the 6th inning against Jesse Crain. And for those who had hoped that the All-Star break would allow the pitching staff to catch its breath and come back with a better game out of the break, that hasn't happened tonight. Can only hope it'll happen tomorrow. And first things first, the Twins can come back and steal one here against the White Sox. There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
Well, again, the bullpen throughout the first half did a great job. 8 wins, 9 losses out of that bullpen. A combined 2.95 ERA. That's the lowest as far as relievers in the American League.
And Rios pulls a sharp single to left, and the leadoff man is on again. So Rios aboard with his first hit. He's driven in 2 runs on a pair of sacrifice flies. Our AT&T trivia question, 7 catchers. I think Brian Harper made it. Not in 92, but I think in 93 he might have made it. AJ made it. Dave Engel. I just saw Dave.
We just saw Dave Engel.
And John Roseboro in the late 60s. So Brian Harper did not make it. And Tim Laudner did in 1988. Relieved Terry Steinbach for the American League. And Crain hits the outside corner of strike. Konerko, a single in 3 trips. Poked foul, 2 strike. Crain came into the game after the first 3 men reached in the 5th. All 3 men scored, all 3 runs charged to Alex Burnett. He ended up getting Ramirez on a comebacker, a walk, and a ground ball, and a strikeout followed. Leadoff man reached and scored in the 1st, again in the 4th, and the 5th, and now in the 6th. Crain will try to keep Rios from coming around to score.
Yeah, Rios pretty good feet work at first base, pretty quick. 23 stolen bases. He's been caught 9 times.
So the throw over to Michael Cuddyer. For those of you who just joined us, Justin Morneau not in the starting lineup and appears headed for the disabled list tomorrow. And Konerko called out on strikes. Dale Scott rings up Konerko for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, he never really looked like he raised his right hand for strike 3. It was a high curveball. Take a look at the pitch right here. A breaking ball. Breaks over the plate. Oh, there he is. Okay. So Crain picks up a strikeout, his 2nd of the ball game.
And now Carlos Quentin. Quentin with a sacrifice fly in the 1st, hit by a pitch in the 3rd, and then a leadoff walk in the 5th against Alex Burnett. And that was the beginning of the end, as it turned out, for Burnett in the 5th inning. 3 of the Chicago runs so far have scored on sacrifice flies.
Got him.
Picked him off. Crain with those quick feet.
Yep.
Picked off Rios, 2 away.
It looked like Rios made 1 step towards second base, and then Jesse so quick going over. You can see Rios started to take off, and then Cuddyer applying the tag for the pickoff.
So 2 gone, and Quentin at the plate. pitch left up, ball 1. You know, Anthony, at the very beginning of this broadcast about 7 hours ago, talked about the 13 games left between the Twins and the White Sox. White Sox also have 14 games left with the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, the Twins have 6 left with the Tigers.
So even though the White Sox have literally come from out of nowhere to take the lead in the division, we've got a lot of very interesting baseball left among the top 3 teams, with Chicago having 27 games against the 2 other challengers in the division. 1-1 to Quentin. Bouncer towards short. Hardy can wait and fire and throw him out. A much needed 9-pitch inning for Jesse Crain and the Twins.
Minnesota State Lottery winner circle with Dan, who's a Minnesota native but now lives in Jacksonville, Florida, and you came equipped with a Circle Me Bert sign. Is the first Twins game at Target Field?
Yes, sir. First one.
Where are you from in Minnesota before you move south?
St. Paul. Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have a message for Bert Blyleven before you get circled?
He's the best. We love him. Say hi, Matthew.
We're glad that you have low standards.
It's all right. He's the man.
Dick Bert Lodge, take it away.
I like what he did with the White Sox, crossed them out. I like that very much. And you are hereby circled.
1-1 to J.J. Hardy. Will be followed by Nick Punto and Denard Span. Hardy fouls it back. 100 pitches for Danks. To his credit, he had a miserable second inning. He could not get the third out to save his life, but he lived to tell about it and pitched through the third, fourth, and fifth innings and pitched zeros up. He's learned a lesson or two from Mark Burley, hasn't he? The Twins have had some games against Burley like that, where he's given up an ugly number early and then settled down.
Timmy, one thing you can't teach is determination, and I've seen this from John Danks over the years. A guy wants to stay out there. He wants to go deep into ball games. And you mentioned Mark Burley. He's another one, Dick, that, hey, they go about their business because they're professionals and they take a lot of pride in what they do out there.
We'll go back to the Coors Light sixth inning and the Coors Light freeze can.
This coming off the bat of Juan Pierre and Mauer, as Tim Laudner said, perfect. Got behind that ball to make a good throw over to first to get the speedy Pierre out.
Here's Punto as a pair of hits. A bloop single and then a bunt. And the White Sox are playing him about where they played him when he led off the fourth inning with a bunt single. Punto takes up and in, 2-0.
Yeah, Bert, if I'm John Danks and I'm sitting in that Chicago White Sox dugout, I pay attention to every pitch that Mark Burley throws. Mark Burley's been a successful pitcher in this league for a good long time. And if I'm John Danks, I'm going to sit over there and I'm going to
be like a sponge. I'm going to soak up as much as I can, and I'm going to learn as much as I can. And I'm going to go and talk to A.J. Pierzynski and say, hey, what does Mark Buehrle do? I want to do what he does. I want to pitch like he pitches because this guy's pretty successful. Help me. You're behind the plate. Help me be like Mark Buehrle.
3-1 to Punto and a bouncer to short. Easy play for Ramirez. 2 gone, and Danks, despite having that miserable second inning, has gotten into a groove now with 6 straight batters retired.
Well, Timmy, I'm sure you had mentors too when you came up. You know, I mean, you know, we're going to change the subject a little bit as you got these gloves right here.
I got my gloves.
He has 2 gloves. Explain what this glove is compared to your game.
Well, I got the old round glove, and I got this in the early 80s. And this is the old round glove. This is what a lot of older catchers used. I never used this in a game. By the time I got to the league, Johnny Bench had come up with the hinged glove. And this is the last glove that I used in my career. It was a smaller glove, but it was a hinged glove, much like the glove that Joe Mauer uses right now. But this round glove that I haven't seen it for about 3 or 4 or 5 years from now because I had to have one of the kids dig it out from Joe Mauer's locker because I let Joe Mauer use this about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't seen it since. I've been missing it, by the way. Now I can go to sleep at night because I can put my head back on the pillow. But I want Joe to order one of his own so I can have mine back. But he uses it to play catch. And when you use the round glove, it makes your hands that much better. You can get your hands into the game. You can get by with a lot of lazy stuff receiving the ball using the hinged glove, and you don't want to do that. The round glove was good for keeping your hands very active.
John Danks on the ropes in the second, but he's completed 6 and has an 8-6 lead.
The best stories start here. By Lincoln Mercury. Visit your local Lincoln Mercury dealer or go to experiencelm.com. And by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Well, the Twins on their 4th pitcher tonight, Ron Mahay, who warmed up way back in the second inning, is into the game now in the 7th.
That'll be the 30th appearance for Ron Mahay, 3.81 earned run average. You see the 26 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts, only 6 walks. He'll be facing the lower part of the lineup for the Chicago White Sox here in the 7th inning.
Kotsay, Pierzynski, and Ramirez, and the first pitch, a vicious swing and a miss by Kotsay. Again, Brian Dunsing would very likely be used in this situation, except for the fact that Dunsing has got a bit of a virus, and the Twins weren't sure whether he was going to be able to be at their disposal tonight or not. And I think Ron Mayhey's entry into the game has answered the question for him.
Well, two good breaking balls right there by Mayhey, getting Kotsay to swing wildly.
2 strikes. Kotsay with a pair of singles and a run scored. Off the plate, 1-2. Twins starter Kevin Slowey didn't survive the 4th inning. Alex Burnett struggled in an inning of work. Jesse Crain pitched 2 innings of effective relief. Kotsay strikes out to start the 7th. Mountain Dew game summary in a wild, wild game.
Well, in the 2nd inning with a 2-0 lead, Gordon Beckham hitting a home run, his 4th of the year. But Joe Mauer in the bottom of the 2nd inning, helping the Twins score 6 runs to take a 6-4 lead. But the White Sox come right back. A.J. Krasinski with the RBI double. They add 3 more in the 5th inning to take an 8-6 lead.
And Mayhey misses ball 1. I'm going to bounce something off you two guys because you've been watching pitch for pitch. Are we watching here a case regarding Danks where even though he got roughed up giving up 6 runs on 6 hits, but the White Sox felt, you know what, he's still throwing the ball good. He's hitting his spots. Some of the hits were soft hits. You have a bases clearing double by a great hitter by Joe Mauer. So let's ride it out. Maybe this guy will be able to get some easier innings, where in the case of Kevin Slowey, it was clear from the outset Mauer would set up outside. He would miss inside and clearly was missing the location of his pitches.
Well, you see, John Danks did it all in 1 inning. Kevin Slowey started at the beginning. He gave up 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th before Ron Gardenhire came out and took him out. So, you know, I mean, you're looking at 2 different horses right here. That horse right there, John Danks, he had the 1 hiccup. It was an ugly hiccup, but he went right back out for the 3rd inning and put a 0 on the board. And then he was able to do that for 4 more innings.
Here's Ramirez. I guess maybe a different way of asking the question is, I mean, you can have an ugly inning, but if the pitcher's making his pitches, if he's hitting his spots, there's no reason to give him the hook, is there?
No, and you know what, Dick? You know, I think that Ozzie has a little bit better opportunity to be a little bit more patient with John Danks right now because, you know, John Danks was getting the ball and he was going right after him. Yeah, he you know, had a bad inning, but by the same token, he was still aggressive. He was aggressive on both sides of the plate, working his off-speed pitches. And, you know, I think that Ozzie had an opportunity to be a little bit more patient with John Danks than Gardy had to be with Kevin Slowey. And I think that's it in a nutshell.
1-2 to Ramirez. Mayhey's come in and gotten a couple of quick outs here in the 7th.
Well, Danks right there talking to pitcher coach Don Cooper. And, you know, again, you'd like to go out there and put nothing but zeros on, but you're going to have hiccups. And he had an ugly hiccup. But then it's the way that he went about his business after that. And that's what that impressed me.
Punto fires on the run, and Mayhey comes in and has a nice 1-2-3 7th inning. Stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Medica. high percentage of quality starts for the White Sox. They didn't get that tonight from John Danks, but he doesn't yield until the bottom of the 7th inning. And a big part of the Chicago run that they've had, a very good bullpen. And J.J. Putz has been just about unhittable.
Well, it really has. 5 wins, 2 losses out of that bullpen so far this year. 1.59 earned run average. 34 innings pitched, only 19 hits allowed. He's allowed only 2 home runs, 6 walks with 40 strikeouts in the 34 innings.
22 straight scoreless appearances covering 23 innings, and he's handed a 2-run lead with the Twins hitting in the bottom of the 7th. Orlando Hudson will lead things off. Hudson, Mauer, and Kyer. And the Twins playing tonight, and very likely for the rest of this homestand without Justin Morneau. They're still suffering the effects of his concussion. 1-0 to Hudson. Swing and a foul. That nailed Pierzynski.
Hello.
Hey, you mentioned that you had your 2 different catcher's gloves. Burt Blyleven and Dick Bramer joined tonight by Tim Laudner. With that old style glove, a catcher almost had to be a 2-handed catcher, didn't he?
Well, it's pretty close to that. And that's why you wouldn't use that in a game anymore.
Right.
Even in the early 80s, I would not use that in a game, but I would certainly catch somebody on the side or take infield practice with it, play catch with it. Not so much on a regular basis, but you know what, pull it out. Because I got to tell you something, it was fun. It was fun to take that old glove out. And I can imagine if you were a middle infielder, we had Wayne Terwilliger was on our staff, and Twig had some of the old style gloves. And it was fun for those infielders to go out there and use a glove that was used a long time ago. There's a picture of Earl Batty out in the hallway here with that round glove. And, every time I walk by, I have a very, very, very high appreciation for Earl and for the way that he caught. I got to see him a little bit. More importantly, I got to meet him, and he was just a wonderful, wonderful man.
Yeah, Phil Ruth caught me with that glove that you had right there.
2-2 to Orlando Hudson, starting the Twins 7th inning. And a base hit right center field. That might run the gap. Hudson will dig for 2. And he's aboard with a leadoff double.
Well, good way to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Looked like a breaking ball that Hudson just dropped the barrel of the bat and lined it into right center. There's the pitch. It's down. But Hudson hitting it sharply. His first hit of the ball game. Picks up his 14th double.
And Mauer has gotten a couple of hits, including a 3-run double in the 2nd. Now, how often did you have to catch Joe Niekro when he came over to the Twins?
I bet you didn't catch him with that glove.
No, I caught Joe his first start as a Minnesota Twin. I walked up and introduced myself to Joe, and he didn't stick his hand out to shake my hand. He stuck this glove out there. It was as big as a peach basket. And the glove that I used was relatively small. The glove that Joe Mauer uses is relatively small. When you have to catch with that big peach basket glove, it's a little disconcerting. Here's the old style. I get hives when I think about the glove that I had to catch Joe Niekro with, but this is the old round one. This is what makes your hands fast. This glove, like I said, I haven't seen it in a while because it's been in Joe's locker, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to play catch with. A lot of fun to have.
Let me ask you something. Youngsters out there, can they find a glove like that somewhere? A round glove to play catch with?
For whatever reason, Joe's having a hard time finding a glove like this, and I don't know why. That's why he still has mine. But I would think that he would be able to get it, and I would think that they still make these old round gloves someplace. One of the manufacturers does. But to me, it connects me to the guys that came a long way before me.
Fly ball to center. Hudson setting up for a possible tag with Rios.
We have to ask his former Twin Jim Hughes. He's with Rawlings. I bet you he would know if they still have those. That's a Rawlings glove.
One gone, and Kyer coming to the plate. Probably go to any antique store around, and they'll probably have one in the back room someplace.
Oh, that's a Wilson.
Boy, I don't know. I'll tell you what, if I could find another one like this, I'd certainly get it, because like I said, this is a lot of fun, and to me, this is what one of the things that connects me to the late great Earl Batty, and because with all the guys that have been behind the plate and had the gear on, you certainly have a kinship with those people.
Kadire is 0 for 2. He got an intentional walk in the 6-run second inning. Twins have the tying run at the plate here. And Kadire takes down and away. Ball 1.
Jimmy, I got to ask you this. What made you want to be a catcher?
Because I didn't want to be a pitcher anymore. And that's the truth.
I mean, was this in high school or college?
Sure. Actually, I was drafted in high school as basically a pitcher by the Cincinnati Reds, and I didn't want to be a pitcher anymore. And I wanted to be a catcher, and I attended college, and was even in college with the premise that if catching didn't work out, they had the right to put me back on the mound. Fortunately for me, I stayed as a catcher through my college career and then through the minor league career. It has, Terry Steinbach, our friend Terry Steinbach, didn't start catching until he was 23 years old in Double-A. So,
well, the Twins got a leadoff double. Bauer didn't advance Hudson to third. Kadire did, but now there are 2 outs, and here's Jason Kubel. Twins need a jolt here to get the crowd back into the game. Putz gave up a leadoff double. And Pierzynski out to talk to Putz.
And what he's saying right here is this guy has the ability to take the ball out of the ballpark. We have 2 outs, we have a base open, and we have a right-handed hitter on deck. Let's make sure that we pitch this guy the way we want to pitch this guy.
And here comes Ozzie Guillen to
Matt Thornton warming up. That also might have been a visit just to let Thornton throw some more pitches out in the bullpen.
So it'll be Thornton against Kubel with a runner at third and 2 away. Presented by Budweiser. You can call 833-TWINS. Log on to twinsbaseball.com and check out ticket availability for this series and the 3-gamer at the other end of this homestand against the Cleveland Indians. Big at bat here for Jason Kubel. The Twins down a couple of runs, don't want to waste Hudson's leadoff double.
Well, Matt Thornton coming out of that bullpen, an all-star this year for the White Sox. Actually got the loss in that. No, he did not get the loss.
Just gave up the game-winning hit, yeah.
To Brian McCann, but making his 38th relief appearance. 49 strikeouts in 36 2/3 innings.
Off-speed pitch gets a swing and a miss. Kubel with a single and 2 strikeouts against John Dangs. outside. 1-1. It's nice to see guys like Thornton getting to go to the All-Star game because their roles on teams so critical now. Thornton about as good as it gets when it comes to a left-handed setup man. 1-2. He was talking Oakland to Craig Breslow, the former Twin, should have been given some consideration to go to the All-Star game because of the job he's done for the Athletics.
Yeah, it used to be starters and then the relievers. I mean, as far as closers, now, you know, the way that baseball is, these guys are just as important as the closers.
Just off the outside corner, a very close pitch, and it is 2-2. Google trying to provide a big 2-out hit for the Twins here in the 7th. Got him with a high fastball. So the Twins get a leadoff double, but they can't bring Hudson around to score, and it's still a 2-run Chicago lead.
Chicago White Sox lead, hitting his 4th home run, a solo home run in the 2nd inning with 1 out.
And Beckham will lead off the 8th inning against Ron Mahay, who pitched a very clean 7th inning, and he delivers down and in, ball 1. Swing and a miss, 1-1. White Sox starting the day with a 3.5 game lead on the Twins. Unless the Twins can turn this game around, it'll be 4.5 games. The opportunity the Twins had in the 7th inning really hurts. If they'd have gotten Hudson around a 1-run ball game, that changes everything with a couple innings to go, but the Twins find themselves still down by 2. Pulled on the ground. Punto over to Kadire, 1 away. Joe Mauer comments on Catcher's Day of the most overlooked part of catching.
You know, when a guy's on first base, you block a ball, and you know, say we have a Nick Blackburn on the mound. You block a ball, you know, the next pitch could be a ground ball double play and get us out of an inning. So instead, if the guy's over at second and ground ball moves him over to third, and you know, it's a whole different ball game. So saving runs that way. But I think the mental side of the thing definitely is one thing that gets overlooked.
Timmy, that's such a big part of the game. Like you said right there, you don't block that ball, the guy goes to second, ground ball, third base, sacrifice fly, boom, there's a run.
The same thing if you got a guy on second base and you can keep that runner from going to third where he can score
without the benefit of a base hit. And let's face it, guys, the Minnesota Twins have been in 2 game 163s. Now, maybe because Joe Mauer blocks the ball, they get to a game 163. Or maybe, the worst scenario is that he doesn't get to a ball and they're in one. But regardless, it can make or break not only just a particular inning or a game, but you can take it all the way out, and it'll mean something at the end of the season. So if you approach the pitcher approaches every pitch like this, this might be his last start. I want to pitch my best game tonight. And it's the same thing from a catching standpoint. I want to catch my best game tonight. We also talked about if you block a ball, Joe's talking about blocking the ball. I always tried to block the ball early in the game with nobody on base so that I could turn around and look at the umpire and say, hey, I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to keep the ball off you all night. If I got a strike later on in the game, I felt like I earned it because I kept the ball off the umpire the whole game.
I related this story before, but years and years ago, I was interviewing Carlton Fisk, Hall of Fame catcher. And he said one year, for the fun of it, he decided to keep track of how many runs he prevented by simply blocking pitches and keeping runners at their bases. And I want to say the number was 267 runs, which seems like an awfully big number. But then you think of, innings like the first few innings for Kevin Slowey or the second inning for John Danks, when there are guys all over the bases and a pitch in the dirt, and if you don't block it, you just open the door for a really huge inning. Fouled back again by Pierre.
For whatever reason, I almost see it, and I watch a lot of games, and I almost see it as a lost art. And I see a lot of catchers that try to catch the ball that should be blocked. And you know what? If you work, and I try to teach the younger kids to work on their technique of blocking pitches and to stay with the technique rather than trying to catch the ball. Use your chest protector to catch the ball. It's a lot of, you know what? It was one of the things that was a personal challenge. And I love to see good technique behind the plate, to watch guys block the ball efficiently and effectively.
What you're talking about is pride. Pride in what you want to do at any level, whether it be Little League or high school or college.
A great at bat for Juan Pierre.
There's
foul ball after foul ball. He ends up getting a sharp single to center.
I think that's what you mentioned right there too. Is you look at each game and say, this might be the last game I ever get to play. And you never know. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, but you can look yourself in the mirror after the ball game and say, you know what, I gave it all I've had. And that's all you want.
In blocking balls too, Bert, sends a huge, huge message to your pitcher, even with nobody on base. Because now when that pitcher gets runners on base, if he's a little bit leery, if you're a little bit leery about snapping that curveball off, you may leave it up in the zone. And if you leave it up in the zone, there's a chance it could get hit a long way. And so if you, as a catcher, work like a dog to make sure that you send the message to that pitcher that you're going to be there for him, he's got a better chance of throwing a more effective pitch, and he's got less of a chance of hanging that pitch because he knows his catcher's going to be there for him.
Here's Omar Vizquel, runner at first. Pierre with the veteran lefty Mayhay keeping an eye on him. And on that pitch to the plate, a strike. Pierre was heading back to first base. Vizquel with a couple of singles and a walk. Mayhay, the fourth pitcher used by the Twins. You saw Matt Guerrero. He may be number 5 with Rios in the on-deck circle. And Vizquel tried to push it through the hole on the right side, but fouled it away. 0-2. 0-2.
There's Jeff Cooper again at the lower part of your screen. He was in Steve Little. He was watching, Jeff Cox go through a set of signs and then relaying them over to Joe Mauer.
Sometimes as a left-handed pitcher, you don't want to throw over to first because you don't want that runner to know that you may not have the best of move. Juan Pierre's already moving back to the base, but they're going to try to keep him close anyway to give Joe a chance to throw him out should he decide to take off.
There's a ground ball to short. They might be able to get 2 here. 1, 2, double play. Nice inning again for Ron Mahay. Jesse Crain gave the Twins a couple of effective innings. And now Ron Mahay, but the Twins are still down by a pair of runs.
Stay tuned after the game for Quest Twins Live, which will include the Toyota post-game wrap. We'll take a look at the Central Division showdown between the red-hot White Sox and the sliding Twins. Our instructional will take us to the field as we continue with the Catcher's Day theme, how catchers field the bunt and play bunt defense. We'll go inside the clubhouse to hear from both managers, Ozzie Guillen of the White Sox and Ron Gardenhire of the Twins. All that coming up after the game on Quest Twins Live. And guys, as we move into these late innings, it's been interesting to watch tonight and listen to all the discussions between the pitcher and the catcher in the booth. And I know they were both a part of the development of a young catcher named Wadner way back in his days. How have you seen Joe Mauer change over the course of his career from a young catcher when he came up with a veteran staff to now being the old man of the crew? He's the veteran with a young staff.
I think that was directed at you, Tim, about Joe Mauer coming up. You know, when he came up, there were some veteran catchers, and you talked about yourself being a mentor. You know, who mentored you when you came up?
You know, it's just part of the maturation process, not only as a catcher but as a professional baseball player. And there are people that have come before you that you need to learn from. You have to know when to keep your eyes open, your ears open, and your mouth shut so that you can learn.
Delman Young with a deep drive to center. Rios tracking it. One away. Third Twin warning track fly ball in the opening game of the series. One away.
Well, Delman gave it a ride, but to the deepest part of the field, right at that gate where the relievers come out of at 4:11. Sergio Santos coming into the ball game, high fastball. And Rios going all the way back.
One down, and here's Jim Thome. Fastball is up.
AJ certainly not afraid to show his emotions behind the plate. And, you know, I got to tell you guys, sometimes it's refreshing.
Thome on the night, a single and a run scored in the 6-run second. Here's a bouncer to the right side. Kind of an odd hop out of the infield grass to the outfield grass where Beckham awaits. 2 down.
Well, Tim Blodner, we're going to look at Delman's at bat. See, AJ wants it outer half of the plate. Let's see where that ball ends up. Up in that area, right in there.
That's a big, giant, huge difference. And as a, you know what, as a major league pitcher, you should be it shouldn't be out of the realm to be able to throw the ball 60 feet 6 inches to a spot not 3 feet away from where the catcher's asking for it. Sometimes
at this level, I agree.
And you know what? I can understand AJ's exasperation over the location of that pitch. And like I said, I don't mind that AJ, wears his emotions on his sleeves a little bit to show his pitcher that, hey, I don't like that. Let's go.
But you saw that last pitch right there. I mean, Santos probably learned something by making that mistake, and now he's sitting there and saying, okay, I'm going to get it away.
So he got the idea, didn't he?
Good piece of hitting right there by J.J. Hardy, because that was a pretty nasty pitch.
Hardy's second hit of the night, and he gets Punto to the plate with a runner aboard and 2 out in the 8th.
I mean, A.J. sitting down and away, and look at the location. Pretty good pitch right there, but good hitting. These guys at the major league level can hit.
Danny Valencia is going to hit for Nick Punto. Punto had gone 2 for 3. Hitting right-handed against Danks, and now Valencia will hit here, and obviously a situation where if Justin Morneau were even available, this would have been a great chance to use him. But he is not, and again appears headed for the disabled list tomorrow.
Yeah, Valencia 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter.
No other left-handed batters available for Ron Gardenhire. And Valencia takes up an in-ball 1. And the likely move tomorrow for the Twins would be to put Morneau on the disabled list and activate Matt Tolbert from the disabled list. There's a drive to left center field, and that's down for a hit. Valencia comes off the bench with a hit, and that'll bring Span to the plate with the tying run at first and 2 away.
I think what we've seen from Santos, and I haven't seen a lot of them, is a good fastball, but not a lot of movement, Tim. So, leave that ball up a little bit, and that ball's going to get hit. I don't care how hard you throw. If that ball's straight, these major league hitters are going to make good contact.
It's a basic four-seam fastball. And until maybe he gets the idea of how to throw a two-seamer to get the ball to move a little bit, maybe the Chicago White Sox think that, this guy's going to be more effective as a four-seam fastball pitcher. We're going to turn him loose that way.
Well, the Twins put a 6-run inning together in the second with a collection of 2-out hits. And now a pair of them here in the 8th get Span to the plate. The Twins really don't have much they can do in terms of pinch running. They don't have Matt Tolbert on the bench. So even if they wanted to pinch run for Valencia at first, representing the tying run, they would have Butero and Repko, the only 2 bench players available to them. Here is Span. Takes up and away, ball 1. Santos, of course, briefly property of the Twins as a position player.
Yeah, he played in 2008 with the Twins in AAA Rochester. Originally signed as an infielder with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Converted to a pitcher just last year.
28 innings. He has not given up a home run yet this year. Span takes low, and it's 2-0. Trying to dig themselves out of their second hole. Earlier they were behind 4-0 and put 6 runs up on the board, but haven't scored since the second inning. Bouncer right side. Beckham knocks it down. Has no play. It's an infield hit. And now Hardy almost got trapped off at third. So Beckham, by keeping the ball in the infield, may have saved a run for the time being. It's the 3rd straight 2-out hit, and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, Twins are trying to do what you talked about, Dick, in the second inning. Put some hits together, and Ozzie Guillen said, enough is enough. Span hitting this ball, and Beckham has to go back on the grass. Makes a nice play. And thought about going over to third, but as J.J. Hardy rounded the bag.
So Santos gives up 3 2-out hits, and Bobby Jenks will pitch next.
First 6 innings for the Chicago White Sox, clocked as high as 94, and Kevin Slowey, a tough outing, 3+ innings, high as 91.
And so it's become a battle of the bullpens. The Twins putting together a threat here in the 8th inning, and the White Sox have to bring their closer, Bobby Jenks, in to face Orlando Hudson.
Yeah, Jenks making his 36th appearance. He has 19 of the 27 saves for the Chicago White Sox. And he, like the other relievers that we've seen so far, more strikeouts than innings pitched. 39 strikeouts in 32 2/3 innings.
So Hudson has walked and scored in the 2nd. And then he got the leadoff double in the 7th. But the Twins could not bring him around. As a result, they're still down a pair. But they have the tying run at 2nd and the go-ahead run at 1st.
Jenks with a very good fastball. He'll mix in a curveball, little slider, and a changeup.
Twins trying to string together yet one more 2-out hit. Maybe get the game tied up here in the bottom of the 8th. Fouled off his front leg, and Hudson takes a tumble. I don't know if that's a cutter or what it was, but man, Hudson really augured it into his right shin, it looked like.
That pitch down and in. Ron Gardenhire is going to see if Hudson's okay. Ouch. You ever do that, Timmy?
Yeah, it doesn't feel too good. But
you see that, and you think of Dustin Pedroia, who did that from the right side of the plate and ended up going on the disabled list with a broken foot. Hudson's going to try to stay in the game, but he is in significant pain.
I probably did that less than getting a foul ball when I was behind the plate. Obviously, when you're sitting back there with the gear on, you get more foul balls in a myriad of locations, if I might say.
And Hudson, to the ovation of the standing crowd here at Target Field, will continue the attack.
You see, if that was a catcher that fouled the ball off his foot or got a foul ball, manager wouldn't come out. But when the middle infielders do that, the manager comes right out to make sure they're okay.
One strike to Hudson.
Catchers don't even get a top step look.
And they come right back in there again.
There's a
Why
shot.
wouldn't you?
There's a shot.
1-1. Hudson at least had the good sense to lay off that pitch.
That's like a cutter right here.
Just missed the corner, and Brzezinski held that one to no avail. Check swing and a foul, and it's 1-2. Hudson's so animated, it's hard to tell whether his expression is a wince or it's just his general demeanor. Bases full of Twins. Trying to get it tied up. One hit to the outfield might do the trick.
And Jenks stepping off. He wants a new set of signs from A.J. Pierzynski.
One and two to Orlando Hudson. And he just missed that front foot with that foul ball, it looked like.
Well, looks like there have been 4 cutters so far by Jenks.
I think that's a wince. I think he's still feeling the effects of that first pitch. Fifth pitch of the at-bat. Taken inside 2-2. Everything has been boring in, down and in to Orlando Hudson.
You know, Bert, this is the cat and mouse game that you and I both had so much fun with, is pitching, not giving in to a particular hitter. This is you know, from the pitcher-catcher standpoint, what it's all about.
Pierzynski pumps his fist. Hudson swings through another cutter. The White Sox leading 8-6. It's time for the Twins territory weekend weather forecast, brought to you by Gander Mountain.
Get ready. This is now our time to shine in the glory.
Another sellout crowd here at Target Field. An interesting game, not particularly well pitched, I don't think, for either team, but the White Sox have a 2-run lead as we go to the 9th inning. The Twins have had, unfortunately, to ask their bullpen to pitch most of this game.
Well, Alex Burnett, the first one out, he struggled, but really Jesse Crain and Ron Mahay has kept the Twins in this ballgame, only down by a couple. Matt Guerrera, his job right here is to do what Crain and Mahay did, will hopefully put a 0 on the board. Matt making his 42nd relief appearance.
Facing righties Rios, Konerko, and Quentin. Guerrera trying to keep this a 2-run ball game. Joe Mauer will lead off the bottom of the 9th inning. If you just joined us, the news of the day, a little disconcerting for Twins fans. Justin Morneau unable to play today, still suffering the effects of the concussion he suffered in Toronto. There's a pop-up near the Twins dugout and out of play. Kevin Slowey had a very rugged start. The Twins bailed him out by scoring 6 runs in the 2nd inning. Slowey pitched into, but couldn't get an out in the 4th. As Bert said, Burnett struggled. The rest of the bullpen has pitched valiantly for the Twins, and the Twins have had some opportunities to get the game tied up. They haven't been able to get that hit.
And credit the bullpen of the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
They've been getting some big outs. Matt Thornton came in, got a big strikeout of Jason Kubel. Then you just saw Bobby Jenks strike out Orlando Hudson to end the 8th inning.
2-1 to Alex Rios. Regarding Morneau, he came to the ballpark early today. There's a drive for Rios and a base hit. His second hit. Did some work on the bicycle and then didn't feel right, and he'll take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, just the kind of that fogginess that, you know, that things aren't working right. You know, it's not registering right, and just walking around when that's not right, trying to hit a 90 mile an hour fastball makes it a little difficult. So just err on the side of caution with this, and see what the plan is. But hopefully, it keeps getting better. The good signs is it's been getting better every day.
And of course, he's playing a man short, and with the suggestion that he'd be put on the disabled list, the White Sox knew that he would not be available tonight. And I think that's affected how they've used their bullpen. They brought Matt Thornton in to pitch to Jason Kubel in the 7th inning, and then took him out of the ball game, and knew that the Twins had no other left-handed pinch hitters available to them.
Well, you want Justin 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a concern for the Twins. And Justin.
Strike on the outside corner, 1-1. But it's one of those situations you hate as a manager because you end up finding yourself shorthanded. And the Twins really playing with a 3-man bench, and the one move that they made worked out with Valencia delivering a pinch hit. 1-1 to Konerko. "14 Chicago hits, and 9 of them allowed by Kevin Slowey. He went through the Chicago lineup twice. Pierzynski got a big hit, driving in a run with a double against Burnett. That's deep to left. Delman Young over and back, makes the catch, 1 away. So the Twins have had 3 balls caught on the warning track, and now Konerko almost reaches the warning track, 1 away.
Yeah, ball left up right there, and Konerko gave it a ride, but you can almost see him shake his head. I didn't quite get that one.
Here's Carlos Quentin.
Quentin, the only White Sox without a hit. He was hit by a pitch. I don't know if that matters or not, but also a walk. 0 for 2 in the ball game.
Burnett walked him on 4 pitches. Yeah, Burnett walked him on 4 pitches to start the 5th inning, and that was the beginning of the end for Alex Burnett tonight. Wow. That's a pretty aggressive swing by Carlos Quentin. Top hand came off the bat pretty early. High fly, short right center field. In fact, Hudson, the second baseman, puts it away out number 2. And the Twins will start with Joe Mauer in the bottom of the 9th against Bobby Jenks. Kotsay, the hitter. A couple of singles and a couple of strikeouts. Jenks stressed out. Outside, it really is remarkable what the White Sox have done, Bert. They were ready to blow up the team.
Yeah, Kenny Williams, the general manager, that's what he kind of told everybody. He said, you know what, I'm tired of this. And all of a sudden, something clicked about the first part of June, and they have just been the hottest team in baseball.
One of the things that clicked is they got to a very soft spot in their schedule with bottom feeders in just about every division. And now they're talking about maybe Ozzie Guillen should get a contract extension. You don't hear much anymore about Greg Walker, the hitting coach, being fired. Mark Burley was given his 10-5 status. A.J. Pierzynski was given his 10-5 status instead of being traded.
Well, you know what? They beat the bottom feeders, like you said, but they also just swept the Angels of Anaheim. They won 2 of 3 from Texas. They beat the Braves. So there's a lot of good teams that they've also been able to beat in this little streak that they're at, winning 25 games of their last 30.
2-1 to Kotsay. Keeping an eye on Rios. It's not just Pierre, but he is their top base stealer. Rios can run a little bit. 23 steals and 32 attempts. And it's really those two guys. They've gotten 55 of the 80 stolen bases. Just off the corner. And it's 3-1. Bounce foul to fill the count. We'll see if the Twins hold Rios on here with 2 outs or whether Cuddyer plays behind him. Cuddyer looks in the dugout. Now trying to get Guerrero's attention. He'll play behind him.
Hey, you play behind him, 3-2, 2 outs, just a little more ground. Hopefully Cuddyer can cover. Ball is hit that way.
Goes and a little dribbler hit to
Cuddyer. Look at that. All that ground he covered. Wow.
Leadoff single does no damage. On catcher's day, Joe Mauer will lead off the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, Joe Mauer with a 3-run double in the 6-run second inning. And Mauer showing his defense ability right there, making a nice play. And A.J. Pierzynski in the 5th inning, an RBI double in the 3-run 5th inning for the Chicago White Sox.
Well, the game reset. It was early, all Chicago 4-0, and then Mauer driving in 3 in a 6-run second.
Yeah, all the runs the Twins have scored so far have come in that 6-run second inning. See if they can end it with a flurry right here in the bottom of the 9th inning against Bobby Jenks.
This beautiful new ballpark has still not had its christening moment. We've had a walk-off wild pitch and a walk-off sacrifice fly. We've not had a walk-off game-winning hit or home run. We'll see if it happens here in the 9th. Against Bobby Jenks. Mauer to start things off. Taking down and in, ball 1.
And a nice, right there. Joe Mauer thought about bunting with Beckham, Omar Vizquel playing at deep third base. Twins need base runners. Now Vizquel's going to come in a little bit.
Mauer with a pair of hits, the 3-run double, and then a 2-out single in the 4th. Deep to right center field. It's not going to be caught. His 3rd hit tonight, and it's a leadoff double in the 9th.
Well, again, Joe Mauer in this ballpark has not hit a home run, but he's hit a lot of these right here. His 2nd double of the ball game, his 26th double of the year. Got a fastball, beautiful swing, hits it in that gap in right center, goes all the way to the wall, and the Twins do have their leadoff hitter on.
And now Cuddyer. Held in check by John Danks, looking for his first hit. Grounder to short. Mauer has to stay put, similar to the situation he was in the All-Star game. And Cuddyer is retired on 1 pitch.
Yeah, Twins have to find a way to get Jim Thome up to the plate here.
Kubel with a single, the first Twins hit with 1 out in the 2nd. Since then, 3 swinging strikeouts. Kubel, then Young, then hopefully Thome.
Kubel 2nd on the club in home runs with 11.
And inside, he's through Hudson, the switch hitter, cutter after cutter after cutter. And now the first pitch to Kubel looked to be that cutter in on his hand.
You know, over the years, I don't remember Bobby Jenks with that good fastball and then the curveball, and he's kind of put this cutter into his repertoire. Changeup right there.
Called strike, and it's 0-2. Kubel's most famous swing, perhaps of his career, came against the Mariano Rivera cutter. Grand slam in New York. Got the Twins a win against the Yankees. Tough spot here. Behind in the count 0-2 to a really good pitcher. Tried the outside corner and missed. 1-2. You've got to have confidence in that pitch, I would think. A pull hitter like Kubel. If you miss by just a little bit, Kubel can do to Jenks what he did to Rivera.
But what that cutter can do is has a little bit of downward plane. If you can throw it down and in, a lot of left-handers swing over the top. Rivera on that grand slam just left it up a little bit.
Check swing. No! And Asanya. But he did not go 2-2. Pierzynski did his best to try to sell this call.
AJ, you know, Tim Lodger was talking about AJ, one of those guys, he's into every pitch. Sometime annoying, but I tell you what, he's into every pitch.
2-2 to Kubel. Tapper foul. Absent Morneau, the Twins have the right guys up this inning. Mauer started it with a double. Cuddyer, a ground ball for the first out. Who would you rather have up than Kubel, Young, and then hopefully Thome? Slashing it foul. A straight fastball on the outer half of the plate.
Hey, he's got such a good delivery. That fastball clocked here at 96 miles an hour. So these are the changes sometimes closers have to go through. We saw Joe Nathan go through that. You know, throw the curveball sometimes more than the slider. You have to come up with new pitches to be effective. And Bobby Jenks has been very effective in his career as a closer.
3-2. And Pierzynski will walk it back to the mound.
He tried to change up right there at 84 and left it up.
So Kubel has seen the 2 fastballs and the changeup.
And the cutter inside.
Sox so far have the only home run of the ball game. Twins looking for one here in the ninth from either Kubel and or Young. 3-2 to Jason Kubel. Got him. A pitch darting down and in for out number 2.
There's that cutter right there. You go underneath of an aggressive hitter that wants to hit the ball somewhere hard. And it's a ball right here. It's ball 4, but watch Kubel. You see, swing at that pitch. He wants to knock in the run or knock it out of the ballpark. And Jenks picks up his second strikeout.
Young, the leading hitter in the American League with runners in scoring position, coming into the game, hitting .390. And the Twins need him to keep the game alive and preferably tie it up. Down and away, ball 1. Jenks got the White Sox out of a jam in the 8th. The Twins put together 3 2-out singles. For the second time in the last 3 innings, the Twins have gotten a leadoff double. They did not score on the 7th. Jenks trying to get the Twins out here in the 9th. Down the right field line, twisting into the seats, 1-1. Burke mentioned before, 5 games between these two teams, 4 of them decided by 1 run. Red Sox now leading by a pair. Speed pitch taken down and in, 2-1.
Another changeup clocked at 81.
To me, seems like a really dangerous pitch to a guy who's suddenly become a pull hitter.
Haven't really seen him throw that fastball a lot. He threw one to Jason Kubel that Jason fouled off, but everything's been cutters, the breaking ball, changeup.
Two and one to Delmon Young.
Back to the cutter. Good location. Good pitch.
2-2.
Look at the break. Just a little break. A perfect spot.
Comes down to their last strike. And Young fights off a really tough pitch. Out of the 8th. Now he's sweating a little bit here in the 9th after Mauer's leadoff double. 22 pitches thrown. 2-2 again to Delmon Young. To center. Base hit. Mauer's going to be waved in. Rios with a throw coming through. It's cut off. And it's 8-7. And Jim Thome will have his chance. Great at bat for Delmon Young, who comes through with men in scoring position again.
That was a great at bat by Delmon Young. Looked like a little cutter that got left up a little bit, but not a bad pitch down. And Delmon Young just golfing it into center field for an RBI, his second hit of the ball game. Good extension by Delmon Young, hitting that ball sharply with 2 outs. Joe Mauer scoring. And now Jim Thome has a chance.
Thome had this opportunity in Chicago against Jenks, and he hit a wicked smash to left center field. You might remember the Twins had the tying run thrown out at the plate to end the ball game. Thome did his part. He just didn't hit enough loft on it. And Thome tonight contributed a sharp single in the 6-run second. Since then, a couple of ground balls and a fly ball. And I hate to be repetitious, but I will be in the hopes that it's an omen. The Twins have not had a walk-off hit yet in their home ballpark. And this would be a perfect opportunity for it to happen.
And you have the right man up right here.
Swing and the foul over the Chicago dugout.
Well, the defense for the White Sox playing very deep. No ball hit over their head. Got a fastball, and Thome just got underneath it.
You're sitting at home and you're going, throw him that one again.
Heck, Jim's at home saying that, at home plate saying that.
1 strike to Thome. Cutter inside, just missed, and Pierzynski held it again for Dale Scott, and he still didn't get the call. Kotze couldn't believe it wasn't called a strike.
Wow.
Instead of 0-2, it's 1-1. Now, the 1-1. Towering pop-up that'll reach the seats. Off-speed pitch, and Jenks left it up.
Left it up.
Jim Thome saying, give me that one again. And we got the sense watching Thome against the Twins. He's either going to strike out or hit a home run.
I'll tell you what, still the hardest thing to do is hit a round ball with a round bat solid. And Thome had a couple good swings right there and just got underneath that ball.
1-2 to Thome. Got him looking. They came back and got the inside corner after not getting it 2 pitches earlier. And another 1-run game. This one going to the White Sox, and Anthony, the White Sox succeed in pushing the Twins 1 game farther back in the standings.